Better. Can't hear, can't hear, can't hear. I have my recording booth plugged in for when I record all audio. Yep. Let's try that. Let's take two. So first off, before I was coming in, I was doing a little song because it says like you're live, but then it doesn't show me live for like about 20 seconds. So during that time, I'll do weird shit. In this case, I was doing like, and I think I'm live and I don't know if I'm live and it won't tell me if I'm live, but maybe this is pre-recorded, and when it's pre-recorded, the people who watch back will see that I'm doing weird shit like this. Anyways, what I said was, Lolly Ho, Jellybean, good to see you, glad to have you. Jubilant, good to see you, glad to have you. Gay Bulge, indeed, Demins, good to see you, glad to have you. Hey everyone, good to see you, glad to have you, Jalali. Hello to you as well. Thumbs up to you as well, good to see you, glad to have you, Willow. And Jellybean said, lol, I have a screen dimmer on because this headache and the emote both looks like a wave and a middle finger. It's great. And all I could think was, isn't that really Willow in a nutshell? I mean, like, a middle finger and a wave, pretty good. Remy, good to see you, glad to have you. Tracy, good to see you, glad to have you. Remy, I was also commenting on your lolfell because of the blue and stuff, all I can think of is Sonic. Black Flame, good to see you, glad to have you. Super quiet. Deathberry, good to see you, glad to have you. Silver Kogaku, Silver, good to see you, glad to have you. And reminder, no spoilers. If spoilers mean anything from Endwalker at any major reveal of any expansion would have wanted to spoil for you, then don't spoil it for others, except for everything we've gotten to up to this point. Thank you, Jubilant. Also, Ray Ray will be out for today, as Ray Ray is, you know, does a lot already, both for me and their own work and life, and so they are very tired. And so if you guys could give good vibes, all of the good vibes to the Ray Rays, I think, I don't know if she would appreciate it, but I would appreciate it. And on top of that, I would just like to say, first and foremost, thank you, Ray Ray, for all you do and all the amount that you make it so that I don't have to worry about certain background elements and can just do the stream and the performance and all this lovely jazz. And in a similar vein, thank you, Jubilant, for being a mod in that exact same vein, as well as thank you to Issa for being our background technical manager, and thank you to Neri for being my co-criminal partner in madness. And yeah. It is Willow 100%, yeah. Gotta go fast. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Remy. As long as we're all agreed it is Willow. Whoops, all Willow. Yeah, Ray Ray vibes. Yep, sending power, Ray Ray. Good. Yes, send Ray Ray the love. Send Ray Ray the vibes. Love to Ray Ray even if she doesn't want it. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. With that all out of the way, let us get going into the monk quests that we've got. We're gonna try to see if we can get to monk 70 quests. We've got like 3, I believe, so timing on that may be a little bit off. I don't want to spend too long on it, though that said, especially since we're not finishing Stormblood today, and we're probably only going to Heavens and Hell's Weep, maybe up to like the locks. Maybe taking time to do that is not the worst. The other thing I'll say is that a lot of times I'll be leveling jobs pre-stream, so if you ever want to come help with that, we usually hang out at the tea tree pre the stream. Don't forget that I'll also be having to level Dark Knight for Shadowbringers, and I'm gonna have to start Pugilist soon. So maybe I'll start Pugilist as part of one of our streams, or not Pugilist, Gladiator, and then go into Paladin. Maybe I'll start that on one of our streams when we get to patch content. And so like we'll have started like Dark Knight and got Dark Knight going a bit, because I want to have Dark Knight finished in terms of like narratively caught up by the time we get to, but like I don't want to go to the source and then come back and do Dark Knight quests. We'll see. Well, but then also, what are we going to do for our warm-up for stream? Well, we'll figure it out. The other thing is that after stream, I'm going to be doing some footage gathering for Lyrical Lore Scream, which means that I need some help to do the Abyssos and Pandemonium raids, but where I won't be fighting, I will just be film gathering and everybody else will be fighting, and I obviously don't want to do that with randos. So we have, I believe, 6 people who are already interested currently, but if you're interested after stream in helping us, we could use 1 or, even 2 more people for backups in case people have to dip, if you're interested. Daniel, good to see you, glad to have you. Has this only just begun? This is the first time I made an MSQ stream live. Yes, we have only just begun. We always start at 3 p.m. CST. So yeah, we've only been live for about 5 minutes. Welcome. Good to see you, glad to have you. Yeah, stream just started. Yep. You who plays Dark Knight, only losers level. What? Wait, I leveled it. Yeah, Bling. Also, Dark Knight, what do you mean, who plays Dark Knight? I main Dark Knight through all of Shadowbringers, and I love Dark Knight. Dark Knight's a good time. It's not currently a good time for me, like, it just doesn't... it's really like a minor thing, but really when they conjoined Carve and Spit and Abyssal Drain, it really ruined Dark Knight for me, which is, it's such a small thing, but it really was a major thing for me. But I hear other people are having just a good time with it, and I've been having a bunch of fun with Paladin, so it's all good. It's all good. Not a problemo. Oh right, he's over here. How's everybody doing? How's your week going? We are on day 2. Hey, Dark is my only class so far. Really? Wait, is it your only one? Because you can't start as Dark. So did you swap to it after like starting as a different one? But like you got to Heaven's Word and immediately went like, this is it. I'm leveling this. And yeah, I feel it, Daniel. The first job that I got to max on my main was Dark, and like I played the crap out of Dark for my first 2 years, basically up until about 5.4 or 5.5. Then I swapped over to Paladin because I knew I was going to want to play Paladin for Endwalker, and I've been maining Paladin since. And so I've always been a tank main. Really, those two are my main focus, but effectively I've just always been a tank main. It's you again, brother. My new pupils, they have lost faith in me, and so I have lost them. But perhaps it's just as well, for I'm unfit to teach. I am the Mad King's kin. It would be an affront. Forgive me. I should not burden you. But to you, I feel I can speak my heart, reveal things I would not to others, not even my closest disciples. Speaking of whom, Denitsa and Ochaka, their bodies may have healed, but their pride will yet be raw. They would be heartened for your visit. Need to get a plumber, not easy. Oh, how come, Tracy? Just like not easy because you have to make phone calls and phone calls suck, or not easy just because there's not many available? I started as Paladin, but I always plan to go Dark. Yeah, so just transitional. So even though that you started as Paladin, your plan was to basically ASAP get it.
Ah, Elio, how good of you to come and see us. Both Zenitsa and I are well now. Never you fear. 'Tis Master Widigelt that worries us. He will not soon recover from the emotional blow.
We were talking yesterday, right, about Mikote dropping the letter names, right? So another example here is Zenitsa and Chaka when they refer to each other.
Given all that has happened, you can hardly blame him. We were supposed to support Master, but in the end we were just dead weight. Lessons have been suspended since the incident. Not that it matters, though. The villagers have ceased attending. It's a big setback to our mission, but the biggest setback of all is Master's melancholy. Professor Eric would not know what to do, I'd wager. Let's go and consult him, but I don't want to leave Master by himself. Nor do I. Elio, might we trouble you to find the professor and bring him back? I believe he took his investigation of the man named Theobald to the Resistance at Ralger's Reach.
To Ralger's! Red Mage, then Dark were my first 90s. Yeah? That's an interesting combo. Was it story or style bling, or was there a specific reason? Marauder Warrior, then switched to Sam as soon as I could. I started as Gladiator Paladin when I started in like 4.3. I quickly swapped over to Marauder Warrior for a little bit. And then I picked up Gunbreaker for a little bit, and I did those two. I was doing Warrior. I did Warrior throughout ARR. I did Gunbreaker for a little bit during like patch content, I think. And then it got to Heaven's Word, and I found Dark Knight and fell in love with it. And so I played and then I played Dark Knight for basically all of that would have been patch 4.5 to 5.5, basically. And then I became Paladin. And I don't know what's going to be next. It'll be interesting to see. With the Paladin changes, I may fall in love with Paladin all over again. I don't think I'll be able to switch off of being a tank. I just love tanking too much. But maybe I'll pick up, like, I'll switch to Gunbreaker and, like, spend an entire expansion on Gunbreaker or something. Or maybe I'll just stick with Paladin. We'll see. Because that refresh for Paladin may make it so that it's so different it feels like I basically got a new job.
Ah, Elio, you come at a good time. I've just finished inquiring after our friend, His Aspiring Majesty Theobald, and you're doubtless eager to hear my findings. Well, by all accounts, 'twas but recently that the man surfaced. None can quite say whence he came, but no sooner did he appear than he declared himself Theodric's heir, proceeded to recruit people to his cause. But the prevailing sentiment around the fellow is one of uncertainty. It should come as no surprise, but folk are not exactly keen on Griffin's return. At least, and lest we forget, few have found memories of the King of Ruin's reign, nor do they have any reason to love his heir. That is all. Now then, what brings you here? I will say, Eric is a better character and person, starting in, like, especially the 60 and, like, the 60 to 70 by a lot, compared to, like, the 1 to 50. But boy, was he much more fun to perform when he was being an asshole. I hate assholes, and I did not like how abrasive he was, but he was fun to perform, I will say that. Still sulking in his cycles, you say? Utterly hopeless. Very well. I shall go and slap some sense into the fool. Come, Elio. Now in a group content, I main Bard. Man, I think I was sitting with, who was it? Was it Dest? Was it who? I don't remember who it was. I think it was Dest who sat with me and explained the fundamentals of Bard. And like, I now understand how to play Bard, and I get the appeal, but boy, is Bard still not like, not a great love of mine. But I mean, that's what's great, right? Is that there's a bunch of people who love like Bard, who love play styles like that. A bunch of us who are like, different stuff. Switch to Sam as soon as I could. Trying to get a bit of work done while I listen to stream since I got vacation time soon. Awesome, Silver. Yeah, I hope that it provides good like background noise, second monitor content, distraction for you while you get your shit done. I wanted Pull's reverse Cecil. Oh, you wanted to pull a reverse Cecil. Yeah, Daniel, I see. Yeah, go from Paladin to Dark Knight. Cecil from 4. Not many available. Yeah, Tracy, that's a big problem right now. It's with plumbers and electricians especially. Widogelt, a threshing though it was, how long will you let a single defeat keep you down? As I hear it, you've been neglecting your training, haven't so much as lifted a finger. You would let all that muscle go to fat. Defeat is painful, this is true, but I am no stranger to its sting. In time, the sensation fades, but this is no mere sensation. It is my very existence. The man who destroyed the Fist of Ralgar, his blood courses through my veins. That I should seek to revive the Order is an affront to the dead. I have not the right. So that is the way of it. I will tell you a story. I once had a son. In many ways he took after me, and 'twas my hope that he would one day follow in my footsteps. But the boy had grander dreams, wanting to change the world. He took off and joined the Resistance, and then he died. His unit was hopelessly surrounded by Imperial forces. In order to save his comrades, he swept up a sack of explosives and... But the details are irrelevant. For long years I lived with regret. If only my son had walked the path of science, I lamented, he might still be here. But eventually I came to realize it was his choice to make, and make it he did. He chose to be a soldier and died a hero. In acknowledging this, I was able to obtain a semblance of peace. We are defined not by our blood, Widogelt, but by our choices. So your uncle is the Mad King. What of it? You're not him, you are you. By whatever name, and there is no limit to what path you may walk. That path may be fraught with hardship, but you mustn't give up. Behold the soldiers of the Resistance. Even now they fight tirelessly against the might of the Empire, ever ready to render up their lives to their cause. These men and women bear a great burden, one beneath which they could buckle at any moment, yet they stand firm to the last. I used to wonder, why do they not give up? My son taught me the answer. They believe that the moment you give up on something is the moment you lose it. When first we met, you were hell's-bent on retribution. Mule-headed though you were, you came to see the folly of your path. But there comes a time when a man must fight. For you, that time is now. So find your inner mule, Widogelt, and fight. Fight for that which you believe in. You are right, Professor. I see now what is truly important. Theobald desires absolute rule. If he has his way, the people will suffer. This cannot be borne. It flies in the face of the new fist. I would restore hope to the people, but to do this I must transcend him. I will become stronger, and will protect that which I hold dear. Full glad I am to hear it. Suffice it to say that I shall aid in whatever way I can. Something else has been bothering me, Professor. About Theobald. His polearm techniques are distinct. I have seen them before, but when? Where? 'Twas long time ago, when the Temple of the Fist still stood. No. It couldn't possibly be. Audrey? Who is this Adri? A brother of the Temple of the Fist, the closest thing I had to family. I had thought him dead, slain when the temple was razed. But now you believe that he may still be alive, and is the one who seeks to prevent you from reviving the Fist of Ralgar. Let's confront him and uncover the truth. I looked upon Adri as a true brother. I do not wish for us to fight, but neither can I yield in my purpose. I seek to restore hope to the people. Adri seeks to deprive them of it. If we must stand opposed, then I stand ready to strike him down. But remember, Adri is not alone. He has rallied a corpse brigade to his cause, and against them the Fist of Ralgor is ineffectual. How do you intend to overcome this disadvantage? If our fighting style will not serve, we will master another, one that is free from and unshackled by form. Elio, I would ask a favor of you. All you learned as a pugilist, we would learn also. Will you teach us?
Reckon you can keep up? This is also an important thing to understand about, like, from a mechanical level, because class goes to job, right? There's a certain, like, we see, like, oh, Pugilist is just weaker version of Monk. Monk is better version of Pugilist. Within the confine of, like, lore in the world, though, it's much more nuanced than that. It's more different, and the, like, heights to which Monk go are greater, but the context under which you apply and use them matter so much that it's never so simple as just, don't take your, like, mechanical expectations of how you see the jobs and class systems and abilities and strengths and relative power and all that, and apply them one-to-one in terms of the lore. I would recommend.
Give us your worst, brother. We will take it all in our stride. If you are ready, I would begin at once. Let us train at Gir Kehem, as the monks of old once did. I shall summon the girls. Pray, meet us there.
Oh man, you guys are going crazy. Well, it would seem that the storm has blown over. With that, I shall return to Uldad and tend to the task of mine own. I trust you will see to the rest here. I do think Eric is just a bit, like, he's so standoffish in ARR, and he's so much more, like, wise and not standoffish in this, that it's not a problem, but it is, like, a very big, big change. Oh, actually, ooh. Yeah, we'll go to Robber's Reach. I forgot to attune to the Mikote. Not many available. Started as a monk and went to dark and then Reaper, only max. Reaper was always the plan with my main. Did you, Deathberry, I'm sorry if we, you know, a lot of times I forget who started when. So if you, Reaper was always your plan, did you only started within the past year or so, past 18 months, right? Started as a paladin, then jumped around leveling for a bit, now mainly Sam, Red Mage Machinist. Nice, nice. Not confident in my tanking. Yeah, that's understandable, Tracy. MA, good to see you, glad to have you. I hope I caught you before you had to pop out, but it's good to see ya. No, but just liked how Red Mage looked and went, fuck it, I'm gonna level Red Mage after hitting one of the level 85 quests in Garlemald. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly valid. I mean, the thing is that a job does not have to be the absolute best for it to feel real good or to look stylish. I agree, tanking just feels right to me. I don't know if it's just because it's simpler or just being at the front. I always play tank in other games too, like Dragon Age 2. Daniel, I'm the same. I've always, part of it is I like being on the vanguard, and also I find with tanking, you have a specific role that is, you need to understand the fight, you need to do things right, otherwise you're going to let the people around you down, and I like that pressure in that context. I like that I need to know my shit, I need to know this fight, and I need to lead people, I need to help lead people to victory. And I feel like I'm supporting my team, and it's not so much that I'm like, again, it's not just like, oh, I'm the leader, it's more I'm the vanguard. And maybe that's a nuance that's not particularly relevant to others, but it is to me. I like it because it's a priority system rather than 1-2-3 combo type deal. Yeah. Given what happens with the samurai plotline too, the parallels are nice. Bard does at least get the best job gear. Really, Daniel? I'm fine with it. I definitely wouldn't say it's the best. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but that's the thing. It's aesthetic and taste, right? Like, I'm sure there's someone out there who loves the Ast gear, even in Endwalker, even though I think it's just, it's a look. But no, my favorite gears are Reaper and Sage are unfair because I haven't been around very long. But like, Dark Knight's always good. Warrior's pretty good. Gunbreaker's always good. I mean, we've only had 2 examples, but it's always good. Paladin's really hit and miss. I mean, honestly, other than the most recent, it's good. None of it's great, but it's good. Sam is always pretty good. Dragoon's always pretty good. You know, it oscillates a bit, but I mean, like, you think about Dragoon in Endwalker and just like, oh, fire. We should do another one of those streams where we rate all the different armors. I mean, like, that obviously is gonna be to taste, but definitely be fun.
Theobald leads the Corpse Brigade, soldiers trained to suppress the Fist of Ralgar. Against them, our style is ineffective. If we are to triumph, we must broaden our horizons, and Elio will help us.
All right, let's do it. I shall give it my all. Hey, Hunter, good to see you. Glad to have you. Let me catch up on chat real quick. I want to leave you guys. Find the mule that's been inside you all the time. I would blame Demins for it. Damn, good to see you. Glad to have you. Yeah. What's odd? Those I have hard level. I hard leveled monked up until the point, so going from one playset to another was a hard change. Yeah, it's a very big change. Arcanist, Scholar, Summoners, interesting thing for job class. Yeah, it's very much a relic of 1.0. Elliot looks surprisingly sexy in monk gear. Thank you. I think he does too. I think he'll look at, like, it very much is fitting. So far, every time we've gotten the job armor, like samurai gear looked real good on Elio, and so did like the original Togi. Like monk looked real good on him. Dragoon looked good. Yeah, I mean, like, not unsurprisingly, right? You know, Dragoon looked good. It looked fine. Warrior looked pretty good. It was fine. I wonder how Dark and Dark Knight and Paladin will look. I could imagine that the Paladin may be a little lanky. The storm has blown over. Not yet, my dude. Haven't you seen the title screen? Issa, good to see you. Glad to have you. Started before Shadowbringers came out for a while and played for a while, but then stopped when life happened and recently picked it back up with Endwalker and a character. So, makes sense. Love the male dancer gear. Totally. Why was that deleted? That's fine. I'm a huge fan of machinist gear because they decided they were going to stick to the theme and live by it. Yeah, pretty much. It was a huge fan of dancer gear. I love samurai glam, Shadowbringer Sam, armor fucks, yep. Summit, good to see you. Glad to have you. I really like whole sets, and I try not to actually take them into account because I find I pass over nice looking pieces by doing this. Usually using individual pieces and mixing them is much more fun. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I can imagine that too, not even just because whether or not it looks nicer to the eye, but also because it makes you more distinguished and different, whereas if you just use the same, like my current set is a combination of Troya gear, Agalea arms, Paladin, legs, like it's like a whole mishmash, which means that like no one else is likely to have that same look, you know? You will know how we fight, our strength and our weakness. Tell us what we must improve from the eyes of a pugilist. So let's go down the list, because I think you have to do all of them. Oh, I forgot to put on the fists. I see. Above all, the pugilist is swift. For each blow he receives, he delivers a dozen. Zenitsa or Chokka, a combination must be seamless. 10,000 boot shines. So that is how you trained. It is eye-opening. But it is not enough. We must learn more, or we cannot defeat the enemy. Please, Elio, teach us more. Endurance. I see. Besides the pugilist, we want for endurance. No number of blows must stop us. Denitsa, Ochaka, our endurance must be unyielding. Steel Peak 10,000 times. Is Steel Peak still a move? Such brutal training. Small wonder you are strong. But if we are not finished yet. Again, Elio. It'd be funny if there was a paladin quest and you used flash. Strength. Anybody else think that seems a lot like... I mean, I'm not trying to be juvenile here, but definitely every time all I can think is a massive fart. I see. Besides the pugilist, we want for power. Every blow must be telling. Zenitsa, Ochaka, our strikes must be harder than stone. Arm of the Destroyer for 10 hours. Oh, Steel Peak gets upgraded to Forbidden Chakra. Thanks, Demins. So this is how you trained. It's his eye-opening. Does he, Tam? That's interesting. Pray forgive me my interruptions. My name is Hurod, and I come at Professor Eric's behest. The professor has something happened. Nothing untoward, I assume you. He has made a momentous discovery pertaining to the man called Theobald. Truly, we must go at once. Ah, beg your pardon, but the professor bade me bring Master Elio alone. He believes that you and the lady should focus upon your training at first and foremost. I suppose he is right. Very well. Go on, brother. You have taught us all we need to know. All that remains is to practice. Make it second nature. My thanks for your understanding. Then without further ado, please follow me. On the Arcanist split, I mean, like, if I recall, both the job quests talk about how using Arcanism as a base makes it easy for you to adopt skills. Yeah, I mean, like, the fundamental premise behind Skull... In lore, the split makes absolute sense. So, like, setting aside whether mechanically or not they would ever want to make them separate things, in lore, it would be a bad idea to do that. Which is not a singular justification not to do something. But in lore, Arcanism is, like, an underlying bedrock of both the Scholar and the Summoner, and, like, Arcanism as a whole. Is the bedrock of both of those. Both in how they cast spells and the usage of the fairy and the usages of the eggies and the usages of the, like, carbuncle. I mean, obviously the usage of the carbuncle. So, yeah. Also, I love how some sets mesh together, like Godbreaker, Tank Glam, Alexandrian Chest, Boots, Elemental Helm Glam. Yeah, finding what works together is really fun. A lot of times, because I don't prioritize glam as a major thing for me, I don't, like, get around to it. But recently I found a glam for my paladin that I've been really happy with. My only problem is that the main piece for it is the Troya set, and I can't dye it, and that sucks. Not far now. The professor awaits beyond. Ooh, Daniel, good question. We'll talk about that in just a sec. Oh, I keep forgetting to... Someone remind me to make sure that I change my fists. I can't believe you fell for it. But to be fair, I spoke no lies. The professor did call for you. Help me, Elio, he said. Somehow I doubt that. I love how Elio's just like, I'm over this. Okay, let's do it. Here we go. He's not concerned, he's just like, God damn it. Can't have you meddling no more, see? What? Why is it? Oh, I see. I do not have good vines for this. You're strong, I'll give you that. But how do you like these odds? I'm regretting making this guy very monotone. I do like that this fight does have you up against some serious odds. Like, you actually are fighting a bunch of different people. I'll put you in your place. The hell's are you waiting for? Finish him. God damn it. Get out of the flaming pools. Why don't you get a whole... Look, I get that you're sorcery wizards or whatever, but like, you should get hurt by lava just like the rest of us. Stubborn bastard, we have to try something different. Yeah, it is a lot of enemies. Can't have you meddling, see? Surrender now, or he's a dead man. Can't even finish a fight you started. Cravens, the whole lot of you. Call me what you will, but no one stands between the king and his throne. Other than Mikote and some Highlanders. You were slow to return, so we followed. It was right that we did. Thank Ralgar we're not too late. How the hells did you get past the sentries? We trampled right over them. How else? Damn it. Your ilk was supposed to be easy pickings. The day's yours, but it isn't over, mark my words. Alright, let me get jumping in. See, we're talking about job gear, what job quest. Most agree Dark is the best, but what about the others? I hear Scholar is fun if you're into Lalafell lore. I don't think you need to be in Lalafell lore. I think you need to be into Nimian lore. If you're into Nimian lore, Amdapori lore, like 5th Astral Era especially, I don't think it's really Lalafell specifically. It's really just more the Nimians as a whole. And it is, the Scholar quest is one of the better ones, I think. It's really good. The thing about the Scholar quest is that if you're not into lore, it's really good, but it's not great. If you're into lore, it's one of the best. Red Mage is, I find that Red Mage is the one that is the closest to Dark Knight for me, in recent memory, having replayed a few. I think, yeah, I would say like some of the other really good ones are, I think Red Mage is really, really good. I think Monk is really good. I think Monk is like really solid A tier. It's super not S tier, but it's really solid A tier. I can't really rank Reaper and Sage because they only get their one and they're like a full story in that and they're good, but they're like, it's not really fair. Machinist is really good, really solid A tier. Black Mage is pretty weak. To me, Black Mage is on the same level as Paladin. Paladin and Black Mage are both pretty weak. Like, they have some good individual strength. If anything, Paladin's bad because, parts of Paladin are weak, but also because, like, you know, your 60-70 is a Gladiator story. It's not even a Paladin story. And your capstone is also not a Gladiator capstone, or not a Paladin capstone. It's a Gladiator capstone. But within that, those stories are good, and so I'm more, Summoner is good lore. It doesn't like have a huge pull through line. Like, it has somewhat of a through line, but not a huge one. It's kind of piece by piece by piece, with kind of just like Alag being the through line. Dancer's pretty good. Bard's really good, especially for lore. Samurai, I think very similar to Monk in terms of like really solid A tier. I think I'd probably put Samurai below Monk. Ninja, I need to replay Ninja and Bard. I haven't played them in a long time. Dragoon's pretty good. Gunbreaker's really good. Warrior is super depends on your taste. Warrior super depends. Do you find the joking nature and like more like love story, like the thing that it's going for? I think it does really well. If you don't like the thing it's going for, then you're not gonna like Warrior. If you do, you're gonna love Warrior, you know? Farting 10,000 times hard enough to crack the ground is pretty eye-opening experience. I'll grant him that, yeah. I really hate some of the die restrictions. Please let me die all things. I have a pitch. So imagine, this is a way to make crafting more interesting, right? So they release crafting recipes for every dungeon armor in the game that requires, you have to get the dungeon armor. So part of the recipe is the dungeon armor, but then you can craft it into a dyeable version. So that way you make it so that there's like reasons, yet more reasons to do crafting. And let's say you really don't want to do crafting, right? You can do the thing that you can do with like repair and materia melding and stuff, where as long as you have the items, you can have someone else craft it for you. But then you can like pay them or whatever, you know? Then I think that would be a great extra layer. I think that'd be a really useful way to make it so that, oh, now we've added in dyeable dungeon gear for everything. And huge win for the glam community. Huge win for the crafting community. I think like that would just work really well. Elliot watch out, it's like 4 guys in low level armor. I also hear I absolutely keep hearing Eggy as B. Dylan Holly's Eggy. Change your fists. Thank you, Tam. Thank you for the reminder to change my fists. Indeed, if it could dye the majestic dress, playing the evilly raids would no longer feel so awkward. Yeah. I heard, can't you have you meddling, see? Yeah, I'm saying Eggy. Bad guy, ha ha ha, I will lure the one into the trap. Warrior of Light, this guy's leading me into a trap, isn't he? I guess I have to kill him. Warrior of Light, moments before whooping someone ass, with a wave of my hand and a flick of my wrist, and I extend my arm and cause you great harm. Yeah. I remember this duty, the amount of enemies was a little overwhelming. Says the YouTube, please the algorithm by hitting the like and subscribe button, as well as commenting below. Much appreciated. Thank you, Jubilant. Yes, but also let me beat up Jonathas, so I can dye my gobby hat. Oh, yes. Yes. Not everything dies well, though. Yeah, but so, Tracy, here's what I would say to not everything dies well, right? If not everything died well, like, let's say a bunch of the dungeon armor just doesn't look good with a bunch of the dyes, that's fine. Let people have that option, you know? You can already make horrendous combos. We already see plenty of frog Moogle people dyed in metallic pink and gold. So, I don't think they're gonna break it anymore.
My thanks, Elio. I was on my way back from Ul'dah when they set upon me, and none too gently, the bloody brutes. I am sorry, Professor. It is my fault. You were put in danger because of me. Haven't you learned anything, you dolt? I'm part of this cause of my own volition. For better or worse, I alone bear the responsibility for my actions. At any rate, I have done what I needed to do, and you may resume training and safe in that knowledge. Begging your pardon, but may I suggest we leave this place? The enemy may still be lurking nearby. The wisest thing said all day. Now, come, let us return to Alagahana.
You know what? I said that to be a smartass immediately after you said to remind you. Yep. And it worked. And it worked because sometimes, you know, because I get caught up in everything I'm dealing with. Hey, don't you knock my metallic pink frog Moogle siblings. I will, you know what? Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna knock you all day. You know why I'm gonna knock you all day? Because you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly why you put on those outfits. You don't just put on those outfits because you think, oh, I really love this look. You put on those outfits because you know the reaction it will elicit. So you don't want me to say nothing because you want my attention, you son of a... I see you guys go into the dying gasp. I see all of you guys go into high-end trials with those looks. I know what you're after.
I thank you again, Elio, for your teachings. Owing to them, we could save the professor. He sustained some injuries, but for a blessing, they are minor. The village healer tends to him. When he is recovered, I mean to challenge Theobald. For that day, I will train harder, and I'll put an end to his tyrannical ambitions. Witness me, brother.
That was a longer one than I was expecting. Oh, but this is the 70 already. Okay, cool.
The professor is well again. The time has come. I will show Theobald my challenge. He and his minions used Rust Rock as their hideout, but who should bear the letter there?
I feel like he should go, but I feel like it's telling me I should go. I guess if he goes, it'd start the conflict already.
You, brother, is that wise? What have they set upon you again? No better that I go. Okay.
Master, wait. If you deliver the letter, it will certainly end in blood.
Yeah, okay.
Elio should go. Without hostage, they can't pull no dirty tricks. You wouldn't dare try Elio again.
Very well, I entrust this letter to you. Take it to Rust Rock and see it to Theobald's hands.
Oh, this is better than the 2B outfit. I don't think it is. I'm gonna say it real clear. The thing is that, like, 2B's outfit is instead, like, yes, there's the, like, to an extent, the butt, but, like, if you just put the leggings on with the rest of the outfit, it's not the same as if you're putting on, like, those leggings and then, like, a Moogle body on top of it. I think it's very different. But I also like Nier. But I also really hate fan service, so I'm going to knock you all day, Elio to me. Okay, Demins. Okay, Tam. Keep it in your pants. Watching these monks quests makes me wish Alamigo got an entire expansion to itself. Yeah, well, the thing is that originally they were thinking about it, and Oda was talking to them, right? And the problem is that Abania, in terms of size and topography, couldn't support 6 maps. I mean, one of the criticisms already is that there's 3 maps and they're all too similar for a lot of people. And so, like, in terms of time and depth to go into it, to a certain extent, I understand. I feel that. But I don't know how much that would have any more served and how much there would be more to do that would be meaningful, new, or fresh, right? You think about similar in scope and size, right? You have Abania, and you have, Kurthus and Dravania. And so, like, Abania is smaller, but, not by a ton, but is. But the thing is that with Kurthus, you have the snow-blighted wastelands. And you have the addition of, like, things like Azys Law. And the Sea of Clouds. So that's already 3 types. So that means that Dravania can be kind of somewhat similar, but not super similar, but somewhat similar, and it's not a big problem. Whereas with Abania, didn't have that same recourse in terms of map diversity. In terms of plot elements, though, I would also say that the amount that they continue to develop Alamigo and hit on Alamigo and its struggles and what's going on with it in the patch content, I think fulfills so much of that promise anyways, that if you think about the bridge, right, the interstitial, the patch content, in addition to the main expansion, the 4.0, I think you do get enough of it. I think you do get enough of the depth and the building off. Not that I wouldn't ever want more, but I want more for all of it. But maybe we'll get another Criterion dungeon that'll be an Alamigo. I think we're gonna get one for each of the city states at some point. Witness me! Grabs a can of spray chrome. Also specifically use the metallic gold chicken soup. God damn it, Tam. I'm not wearing pants and you know it. Jeez. Oh, this is good. Lady's has been sick currently. So this will give her time that if she is feeling better, she'll be able to do art. If you want to send her good vibes, please feel free to. I don't like the 2B outfit since it's overused, in my opinion. Yeah, but do you not like that it's overused? Do you not like it, or do you not like how it's overused? Because those are 2 very different things. There are certain outfits I don't like, right? But there's certain outfits that I'm like the elemental armor. I don't like that the elemental armor is like used by everyone and their mother who gets it, right? I say that as someone who uses it, right, on my Dark Knight. But that doesn't mean I don't like the elemental armor. And I'm more like just saying that because I think it's really important to like draw the line between it, because you can also not like it and think it's overused, you know? And the thing is that part of the reason it's overused, I actually don't think that like the tops are overused. Honestly, it's really more the thigh highs than anything that are overused, and part of that's because there aren't a lot of great alternative options. Oh, food arrived. Thank you. And thank you to my mysterious benefactor. Oh, hi, Deadpool. Who wants to see the boy? Yeah, you can just put it over. Thank you. Who wants to see the boy? Come here, buddy. 1, 2, 3. Oof, yeah. You're very good. Okay. You wanna go back upstairs? Yeah, you wanna go upstairs. There you go. Go get it. Go get it. I suppose you're right. I just fell in love with Ishgard and Heavensward, so I guess I was hoping for the same with Alamigo and Stormblood. Yeah, that's understandable. Totally get that. I mean, like, yeah, you get to focus on Ishgard, because even the Dravanians, right? You don't really focus on the Dravanians a whole bunch. You like get a little bit of Idilshire, you get a little bit of the dragons to an extent, but you really are focused on Ishgard and its politics and intrigue. And so by nature of having to do both Doma and Othard broadly, but Doma especially, and you know, Alamigo, it's somewhat diminished more. I totally get that. I do think that the patch content, I would say that the patch content really does a lot for Alamigo, and I would say that there's a lot of side content that you can do that really opens up and deepens the connection and the lore and the history and legacy of Doma. And especially, not least of which is if you haven't done the Doman Enclave reconstruction quests. you absolutely should. It is a really, I don't even know if it's a capstone, but it's a really beautiful first step forward in rebuilding after what happens in Stormblood. The other thing is that if you do the Enclave quest, I think it also makes the Endwalker role quests hit a lot, ranged role quest hit a lot harder. Ah, I remember you, friend of the pathetic monks. You're bold to come here. What do you want? We gonna kick your ass tonight. A letter of challenge. A dated practice befitting a dating style, and a lot of effort to simply lose. I accept. Indeed, I anticipated that I would have to deal with a stubborn fool. Another beating, then. I'll be at Schism, and you may well tell the Wittogult, nay, my dear cousin Theodred, that he would do well to bring a coffin. Good vibes, lady. Yeah, the outfit's okay. I'm just not a fan of how overused when it comes to looking at glams. I mean, but just don't look at other people's glams. That's disrespectful. I guess, Lord, I just come for a different philosophy, which is like, my thing is like, if I don't like a thing and it's overused, I'm like, ooh, good, more reason that I'm gonna stand out, you know? And if anything, when it's overused, I tend to think that the solution there is more about, there needs to be more options in that ballpark, right? I feel like the reason it's overused is not just like, oh, just because of sex appeal or any one reason. It's also because if people want that. For some it is, right? But sometimes I feel like it's partly also, there's not a lot in that vein, you know? But yeah, I hear you. I mean, it is. You're right. It is used a lot. You're not wrong. I guess the other thing, I guess I would say though, you know what I would say is that if I'm not in like Limsa, I don't see it that often. Like, I'm sure it might be used on a lot of, like, the glamour, like, websites and stuff, and like, people doing a bunch of glamour contests or whatever, but, like, in average play, I don't see it that often. I see it a lot less lately. I saw it a lot more when Shadowbringers, when you know, the Alliance raid came out, but that always happens, right? You know? Hi, Deadpool. Yes, this is Deadpool, and he is a very good boy. He is currently licking my hand. Hi. You were supposed to go upstairs. Can you go upstairs? I'll give you a pet. The stream was behind somehow on my end. Weird. Yeah, sometimes that happens, Deathberry. There's always all sorts of weird stuff that happens. The stream health looks okay, so. Oh, dude. I look like a bum right now. Give me a second. That's not how I want to look. My hair's probably flat and stuff, but. Hi. Do you want to say hi to the people again? You look like you want to be held again. Man, my hair is getting long. Okay. Oh yeah, man. I need a freaking haircut. But which one? Okay. That'll do. Okay, buddy. 1, 2, 3, oof, ah. Do you want to eat a treat for the people? Can you go upstairs now? Come on. Come on. And up we go. Okay, sorry about that side tangent. Also, if you're wondering why I'm wearing pajama pants, it's literally because my final pair of blue jeans tore down the middle, so I need to go shopping. It's funny because I have two aesthetics, which are really like I like button-up shirts or vest if I've got one. My last one tore, you know, like tie, like looking nice, looking snazzy, and the other is PJ bum, and those are my two. I want to be held. Damn. Chrissy, good to see you. Glad to have you. Speaking of Idleshire, do you have any idea how long the Charlene colony was abandoned? 15 years ago. Well, 10 years ago. I mean, yeah, it depends on. So, it would have been what? 1562? Yeah, 15 years ago. Because it would have been, yeah, 15 years from 10 years after, during 1772, then the Calamity. Yeah, so 15. Because if the ARR year, effectively, if you think about the year ARR begins, it would be 1577 of the 6th Astral Era if it was still the 6th Astral Era. And the twins were, yeah. The twins were less than a year old. Yes, Chrissy, that is correct. I remember you in the mountains. Domin Enclave is awesome, very heartwarming. Yeah, totally, Daniel. Very much so. I actually like it much more than the Ishgardian, like the Firmament and all that. But I think the Ishgardian Firmament has a wider breadth of an experience in it. We need more Neo Ishgardian style, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely take that. I want to be held. Wait, what kind of stream is this now? I strip for 1 second, and y'all go crazy. Finally, we get only Archons. No, see, when we get only Archons, I'll have to get on my Eorzean and my Graha cosplays and then start taking photos. Maybe make those Patreon rewards. Speaking of, we have a Patreon. If you'd like to support us and make this whole thing more sustainable, you can go check us out at patreon.com. You can also get your name in the banner and all sorts of other fun rewards. And we're also in the middle of revamping the Patreon a little bit to make it so that there's, like, more, like, the rewards are consistent and, like, stuff going on with that. That may not be for a month or two, but that's getting done right now. Deadbolt Tree ASMR remains undefeated. Yeah, the good boy. In those toned Elzen arms. 10 years before Dalamud Fall? Yes. 10 years before the Dalamud Fall, which would be 15 years ago currently. Fun rewards like only Archons. Look. Y'all can joke. Here's the thing. I will even, like, go do push-ups. I will go get better in shape. And I will take fun, tasteful photos and, like, character cosplay or whatever if people want that. But I suspect the reality is about 2 people kind of want it. And then, like, 1 other person wants it as a joke. So, let's continue on with the story. The letter is delivered. My thanks, brother. I've invited the people of Alagana. They too shall bear witness. The fight is to be single combat, but my opponent scruples at naught. But well do we know this, and so we must be prepared for anything. Whatever should happen, I'm confident we will prevail, for as I trained, I awakened to a new power, the power to protect. Don't let your dreams be memes. I don't think comparing me to Markiplier is in any realm of the imagination reasonable, Demins. I appreciate it, though. Yukio, good to see you. Glad to have you. Oh, we got a bit of time until that, Yukio, but definitely glad to have you for it. Really, a crowd. Well, if you're determined to make a spectacle of your demise, who am I to stop you? Let all present witness the death of the fists of Rhalgr. Hear me, people of Alamigo. A feeble faith such as the charlatan peddles will avail you not. Only a strong and absolute ruler can save you. Only I can save you. Those words may as well come from the Empire. The people need not another tyrant. Nay, what they need is hope. And hope that they may have yet. Hope everlasting in their hearts. None can take that away. So I beg you, brother, give up your aspirations for the throne. Join me in reviving the Fist of Rhalgr, as is your right. The time for the deception is past. But one man I know wields the lance as you do. So take off the mask that you wear, the mask of a dead prince, and show me your face. Adri, my brother. Adri, long has it been since I last heard that name. I'd always thought you dim-witted, but it seems your memory still serves you well, at least. Why do you so desire our destruction, so much so that you fool even yourself? Like you, I was an orphan. The temple was the only home I knew. But then that home was taken from me, laid waste at Theodric's command. The monks, hailed as this realm's greatest warriors, could not withstand their mad king's might. It was then that I knew that blood counts for more than all else. All that training we undergo to hone flesh and mind, none of it is worth a spit in the face of absolute power, and those who are born without it, those like me, will ever be made to suffer. But you had it all from the beginning. Born into the royal family with the blood of kings coursing through your veins, you had the power to lead and to rule, but still you turned your back on your nation's liberation. And for what? For the sake of a fist that couldn't protect itself.
I was nobody, just one of the Griffin's lowly doubles. But if you will not rise up for our nation, then I will, and you have no right to stop me. You who have forfeited your own birthright! Hear me, brother. Our blood defines not who we are. The path we walk is ours to choose, and I have chosen not to destroy, but to protect. Hollow words from someone born to power. You will never understand what it means to be weak. Never! I am Wittergilt, a brother of the Fist of Rhalgr. That is who I am. No more, no less. I live to revive the Fist of Rhalgr, and by my fist I will prove it to you.
And then he kicks him. Punchy, punchy, good, good, so!
No, this is Thancred.
I don't think he is as mad as Ilbert. I think he's driven by the same thing. Well now, the Professor said that there'd be a spectacle, but I certainly won't say no to some action. I've been itching for it since our match was cancelled. I'm sure Haman is desperate for some action, if you know what I mean.
Enough, Audrey. Our goals are the same. Our methods but differ. Together we can achieve much. We can restore our order. Audrey is dead. I am Theobald, Theodric's true heir and rightful king of Alamigo. And by your death I shall claim my throne.
Alamigo! You know, the fact that he got beat by Wittergilt, you could say he's quite sloppy.
To resort to the tools of our oppression, he will stop at naught for power. It is a twisted existence, and we must straighten it out. Come, my friends, we fight for hope!
Get 'em, boys!
Cease this madness, Audrey! Never! I have come this far. I will not stop now. I will see to Audrey. Focus on the others. Come to me when you are hurt. I will heal you.
I can heal myself, thank you very much.
None can stand in my way. More of them. Have care, my friends.
Chuchuto, Rukuta, we're clearing up rank and file. Stay sharp, Rukuta. Huh, just more fodder for my fists.
You've been a thorn, adventurer, but I've just the thing to deal with you. Ooh. Beware, Elio. It senses movement.
Interesting. Ah, okay, I see that. It gets timed and then it goes off. Got it.
More reinforcements!
Whatever it takes, by any means, I will be king! A king bereft of honor. No Alamegan will accept you. Leave the hunk of junk to me. Come on, Holy Fist! The old man still got it. How many seconds? 5. It's just you now, Archery. So much for the dreaded Corpse Brigade. In the end, they're just a relics of a bygone age. But not I! I will not fall to the likes of you! I can't lose everything! Not again! Keyhole! Good to see you, glad to have you. Adri, when next we fight, let it be as brothers. Let it be face to face. I am weak, too weak to bear the fist of Ralgar alone. Yet come what may, I will not give up. Each time I will fall, and I will pick myself up. From my heart, I ask you this. Will you not join me? Help me to build a new fist. One that knows not highborn or low, that discerns not shadow or light. A fist of Ralgar where all may belong.
Your fiery zeal kindles hope within people's hearts. Doubt not but that many will come to you seeking strength, the strength to protect that which they may hold dear, and by their own hands. Now then, let's return to Alagahana. There's still much to do, not the least of all thanks to our pugilist friends for the most timely arrival.
One thing I always wondered about this questline is that if we never believed that guy was Theodric, why did we believe his story that Wittergilt was Theodred? Because I forget, Eric, I think, like, I mean, one is that we don't believe him about that because we know the truth about him later on, but the thing is that I think all the stuff with Wittergilt lines up. I forget, I think Eric has a comment on it at one point too, that, like, he's, like, surprised but then checks into it and it makes sense. Or maybe, or actually at the end, maybe, actually I think we're gonna get something about here that either confirms or denies it one way or another. The paths that we walk in. Oh my god, these monk quests are epic. I just wish the job itself wasn't so difficult. Here's the thing I'll say. The monk job isn't really super difficult. It's more about just different mindsets. It's the same way that Bard is super difficult for me. In that, like, once I changed my mindset and understood how to do it and what it, like, was requiring, it's really not as bad as it seems. It's just different. It's more different than it is harder. In my opinion. No, Elio, we have no idea what you mean. Nothing straight about the stream. Sorry, Theobald, I mixed the name up with the last Scala boss. Yeah. Oh, he said the thing. He tried so hard to go and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Do super chat. My dollar super chat is the voice because I'm not so happy. How much money would it take to make Elio sing the Alamegan national anthem? I'll do it for 20 bucks. I didn't have to. I just a thing to deal with your adventurer. A blue exclamation marks appear over heads. Breakdance them to death. He can't, he just can't wait to be king. That'd be pretty funny. The old man just threw out his back and won't be able to walk for 3 weeks too. The pugilist quest are just okay, but I think everyone loves the part at the end with a flash young holy fist. Yeah, but like, that's also the thing is, 14 respects that sometimes you have to do the things that aren't the absolute most amazing to make the most amazing moments. The other thing I'd say is that if you compare the Pugilist quest to the other classes, it's pretty good. Like, the Pugilist is as good or better than... Because, like, Marauder is... fine. Monk is, I think, pretty good. Or Pugilist is pretty good. I have a Lancer. Lancer's okay. You know what? Lancer's good actually, partially because the Wildwood stuff it does. I don't think that Lancer's very good. I think the only thing is that the Duskwhite Eorzean stuff, I think, is the only thing that's particularly okay, like, of zest about it. I mean, obviously Rogue is amazing, but Rogue's also an outlier because they added it late. Archer's pretty good. Archer's pretty good in that, especially because it adds, Gridanian lore and stuff, and I think there's actually some zest to it. Oh, Daniel, there you go. Well, sing the measure of his reach. Okay, well, there we go. Give me a second. Machinist doesn't have it. Dancer doesn't have it. Thaumaturge is good. I think, honestly, I think the Thaumaturge quest is better than the Black Mage quest for the most part. Arcanist is kind of cute and has some stuff going on with it. I kind of think Arcanist is pretty good. Why is Ewain the Lancer teacher hated? I see a lot of hate. Hate from who? Is he hated because of his treatment of the Duskwhite? Okay, Daniel, we'll get to that in 1 second. Let's finish up this first. 'Twas a fine speech, spoken from the heart. Lacked polish, to be sure, but that'll come with age and experience. And as good as drubbing as we gave him, the Corpse Brigade will be lying low for a while. As will I. I think my age at the moment of fun... at my age, a moment of fun costs a week of soreness. You must admit, though, every so often it's good to hurl yourself into a real battle. A real battle. I don't know about you, but I scarcely broke a sweat. Oh, then I suppose I was simply imagining all your huffing and puffing. Whoa! Well said. Though it is to part, it is... well, sad though it is to part, it's past time we headed home. But I hope to continue this fine exchange with our friend monks Denitsa and Ochaka especially. Young and lithe as they are, I believe they harbor much pugilist potential, and it'll be my pleasure to personally help them explore it. Okay, Haman. Gods, could you make it any more obvious? Till next time, take care, Elio, and thanks for showing these old bones a good time. Ham on, gonna ham on. With your help, we managed to weather another storm. I dare say we all earned a moment's respite. You know, I can't help but feel that Master is too nice sometimes. After all that Theobald, Audrey fellow did to him, he goes and begs the villagers to tend to his wounds. So complete in his dedication to reviving the Fist of Rhalgr, he wastes no energy on such things as anger and retribution. Right, and at any rate, there's nothing standing in our way for now. We're free to get on with our mission. That we are, and what we've begun in Alagahana we shall continue in all corners of Abania, never resting until the Fist of Rhalgr thrives throughout the realm once more. I'd say Master has his work cut out for him. He's gonna need all the support he can muster. So, let us strive to grow stronger, the better to provide that support. After all, it wouldn't do to always rely on Elio. Damn right. So, what are we waiting for? Let's go train. Horny old Aldico. What? But we've only just... Pray, excuse us, Elio, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything. What do you mean, your canon? What do you mean, your canon? Also, yeah, here, let me catch up with that. Because he's a villain of sorts. He's not seemed to like a villain, but you can definitely interpret him as one. I definitely don't think you can. I think if you interpret his actions in response to... I think you can interpret Gridanian's racism towards Duskwhite as a tragedy and a systematic villain, but I don't think Ewain's a villain. I don't think you can interpret him reasonably. I don't think you can reasonably interpret him as a villain. I'm pretty strongly with that. His rejection of the Duskwhite is partly also because of his actions, and his unwillingness to not just be a part of things, but also like actively attacking his students and attacking people and injuring them and being unwilling to, you know. I love the Conjurer quest. The Conjurer quests are pretty good, and they also end up paying back. Yeah. All right, time to head home. Gotta do on my headset so I can hear that national anthem. Sounds good, Tam. And yeah, Daniel, we'll get to that in just a second here. Ends with the revelation that the Lancer Guild is corrupt in the high ranks and nothing happens. It was honestly the first questline that made me legitimately angry at the ending. What are you talking about? Racing charisma is okay as long as you have the right kind of courage. I don't know which line you're talking about. Let's pull that up on Garland Tools, because that's not at all what is said as far as the 2 times I've played it. Eorzean. No. Quest 7 Lancers. Proof of Might. Proof of Might. Everside Sore Eyes. By your return, I take it you are ready for the final trial. Very well, let's... Guildmaster, you're wounded. What has happened? We were attacked, sir, by the Duskwhite Lancers. We trained in the forest. He was impossibly strong, a demon. He kept screaming something about teaching us true courage. No, not him, not Fulquist. We were in the northwest corner of the Central Shroud. What happened to him? Be strong, man. I'm sorry for naming the trauma weight. Pray make haste to the Central Shroud and help your comrade. Should Fulquist force your hand, do what must be done. 12 speed on you. Then you have the step with Fulquist. Then you come back to it. So Fulquist is no more. He was a tragic tale, and one that might have been different had fate not dealt him such a cruel hand. He could well have commanded a place of honor within these halls, but it avails us not to dwell upon what might have been. It is enough that you are still with us. Lest you wonder about your final trial, there will be none. I have seen all I need to see. You have proven beyond a shadow of the doubt your genuine courage. In recognition of this, I shall pass to you the secrets of Lance Charge, one of the most potent abilities in our arsenal. You are a Lancer in your own right now. There is not more I can teach you. From here onwards, it is up to you to seek out challenges that will make you grow. Like Atrax, like you, and strong are drawn to the strength. Just as I once for certainty that I was destined to face the Lord of Bramblepatch, so too will you find or be found by an adversity of equal worth. None can say what fate will bring, but armed with your courage, there is naught you need to fear. Keep close to your heart and lessons you've learned here, and go forth to blaze a new trail, spear in hand. Yeah, I don't. He did not support the institutional racism against the Duskwights. No, what Kjol is talking about, what he's talking about, what Fulquist talks about is his anger at not necessarily being allowed to ascend as fast as he wants, and also associates that there is an institutional problem with the Duskwhite, with like the racism towards Duskwhite, but like the only thing we ever see around Eorzean say, with Eorzean is specifically, no, the problem is you are literally reckless and willing to get yourself and others injured. And so I'm not just gonna like let you go willy-nilly doing whatever you want. Like, again, I am full in support of criticizing Gridania and like its institutions around their racism towards Duskwights and Keepers of the Moon. Like, do not get me wrong. But like to say Eorzean is somehow very much a party or propagating that, I just don't think is supported by the text. Pandemonium stuff is would be 8 CST or 7 or 8 CST, so that's not for another like 3 hours. Racism I get. The only thing I can think of is apparently the Wood Whalers aren't that well paid, which is probably why the robbery Fulquist was involved with happened in the first place. Yeah. Like, again, I'm not saying that they're, like, the Archer questline also deals with this as the Keeper of the Moon. This is very much, like, a part of the narrative. But to say Eorzean is specifically, like, propagating it. Like, Eorzean, on multiple occasions, tries to meet Fulquist where he's at. And tries to, like, does try to include him where he can. And try to teach him.
Witnessing your furious struggle, I could not help but wish that I too could contribute my fists. My son, I suspect, felt the same way when he chose to join the Resistance.
Rachel, good to see you, glad to have you. We were talking about the Lancer's quest. I'm also about to sing the Measure of His Reach.
But as he walked his own path, so too must I. As a man of science, it is my duty to pursue the truth immutable. That knowledge may one day benefit the future generations. I did my small part for Whitgeld's cause, but know that it was mostly you, my friend, who helped him to forge ahead in the face of adversity, who picked him up when fate cast him down. And for that I'm grateful. You possess a noble heart, and more than it makes up for your and for that I'm grateful. You possess a noble heart, and it more than makes up for your lackluster mind. Also, he said forge ahead. Everybody drink.
I think it's asking too much. Yukio, it's a background element. Part of like the Archer story and like the Lancer story is also the recognition of and moving forward. The moving forward from that racism is a background element of the narrative and side quests just as much as like dealing with the tribal quests are. So it's to be fixed. I mean, to be perfect, it may be asking too much for it to be perfect. So there's always going to be injustice and struggle, and to pretend like there wouldn't be at all would be just disingenuous. But and it's also complicated because, like, part of the reason that there's problems with the Keepers of the Moon is a byproduct of also the Keeper of the Moon poachers who willy-nilly poach and do whatever they want also cause problems with the elementals, which threatens everyone in Gridania. So, like, it's not just, like, oh, you're other. It's also, like, a history of conflict. The same way that Gridanians can overcome stuff with the Ixali, as we see, absolutely can they overcome that, and we see it. Just a general progression. Yeah, and we see, to be fair, we absolutely see that general progression. If you look at 1.0, especially onto 6.0, but even 2.0 onto 6.0, there has been a progression of it.
With that, I shall head back to Ul'dah. As a fine distraction as it has been to watch young bloods come into their own, my research will not advance itself. As ever, should you wish to partake of my knowledge, do not hesitate to come to me.
I don't know how much they will focus on the city-states after 6.0. They seem to me to not want to move beyond it. I'm not sure in which way you mean, Daniel. Because, I mean, the thing is, you think about, they don't, if you mean don't, to move beyond what? I don't know how much they will focus on the city-states after 6.0. I would say they still have major elements. I mean, the thing is that even when when things are moved on, the relationship between somewhere like Maricidia and the city-states and the other nation-states is going to be incredibly important. And also, would you count a New Garlemald as a city-state? Because then I think the relationship between the city-states and a New Garlemald, as well as Othard, and that complicated relationship, I think will absolutely be a major background element throughout. I don't think it's ever just going to be a city-state or not city-state. I think it's going to be the city-states and their elements and their leaders are fundamentally a part of the world, and the reactions and dealing with the world itself will continue to be a major element. I mean, just look at even 5.4 and 5.5 are all about city-states. The role quests are all about the city-states, you know?
The recent trials have taught me much about myself, about the extent of my debts. Though adversity, none of you will abandon me. I nearly abandoned my dream, but never again. I owe it to those who stood by me. To many I am indebted, and to you most of all. You are my master in all but name, ever leading by example, teaching me strength and grace. I pray that you will help many others, as you helped me. I shall rescue my mission, with my disciples at my side. Together we will spread the fist across the land. The journey will be long, but come what may, I will see it through. For I am not alone. Fare you well, my brother. Till next we meet.
And we've done it! And now I can sing for you. I will sing you the song of my people. It annoys me that like little cutscenes like this aren't in the Unending Journal or anything. So like when I made my like Job Crystal video, I had one chance to get some of these shots. Yeah, and Daniel, again, thank you so much for the $20. I did not actually expect that to happen. I mean, they keep adding to ARR still. Yeah, they mentioned adding new diveable areas. Yes, in Upper Lenosia, over by the Wanderer's Palace, which makes me think they aren't done yet. So yeah, so Gemini also depends. Like that's talking about content, right? But does that mean they're going to continue to develop and progress? So that they're adding things that you do in the overworld, but that's different than adding side quests, right? That further, expound upon things. Ywain's problem is that the narrative never lets him address the corruption with his subordinates. The narrative ends before the story can be resolved. I mean, remember that he's also in the 70 Dragoon stuff too. But the thing is that Ywain's job is not to solve racism, right? He is inclusive. His job is to take a look after the Lancer Guild, and he is inclusive when it comes to people in the Lancers Guild. Like that, he does fulfill his responsibility, and also is not, he does not dismiss Folkoi out of hand. He dismisses them because of his actions. He doesn't even dismiss him. He says I cannot. You are not only are you endangering others, and your brashness you treat as courage, but you're endangering others. You are also literally now attacking others. So for Ul'dah and Limsa, I've done much more to progress compared to Gridania. I think that say this because of the role quest as tank still concerns me about the elementals. I mean, I'm not sure what do you mean concerns you about the elementals, because if anything, the elementals and the relationship with the elementals now is much more If anything, the tank role quest should make you feel better, not worse, because that shows that there's a lot more agency that the Gridanians have in contrast to, like, the thing is in 1.0 especially, if you did anything, if you brought an open flame into the 12's Wood, you would incur like torrential wrath of the elementals, right? Now it's showing that they have the power the citizens of Gridania have the power to quell and have agency and have a lot more room to be like, entrust us the ability to do this better. But they still have to live in harmony with these spirits, right? But no, I agree. Gridania has had one of the shorter ends of the stick in terms of like its specific development in contrast to Limsa and Ul'dah. Part of that though is that there's not you can't really the role quest in a way is really the main thing that you can do, because you can't get rid of the elementals without destroying what Gridania is, you know? Oh, Aurora, thank you for the 5 memberships. Yes, everyone, enjoy your emotes. Wait, really? I never looked. Cutscenes. Yeah, go on Garland Tools and look at his dialogue with Eorzean, right? Look at Eorzean and Fulquist. Like, don't just look at the cutscenes. Also look at the if you go on Garland Tools. Here, I gotta show. Give me a second. Right, you can go through all the quests. So you go through, like, if you go back through, like, Proof of Might and stuff. Like, for instance, like, really, his final, you know, comment on the guy was, you know, like, literally, he sends you to go after them only after he starts attacking students. And his final comment is, his was a tragic tale, and one that might have been so different had fate not dealt him such a cruel hand. He doesn't even, like, condemn him. He's, like, he pities him. He has empathy for him. He could well have commanded a place of honor within these halls. Like, see, like, he's very much, like, does not dismiss... Again, like, racism in Gridania is absolutely a major element. I just don't think accusing Eorzean of being, like, like, not only just egregious, but a practitioner of it is fair, you know? I meant the job stance posing cutscenes. Corruption doesn't mean racism, it also means that high-ranking members of the guild were also thieves like Fulquist. But while Fulquist showed regret, they didn't, and they are still under Eorzean. Yes! But that's also because Fulquist didn't have a full understanding of that situation, not just because, you know, so the Lancer Guild has unrepentant thieves in power. Well, it has unrepentant thieves and maybe in, well, it has I would have to go back and look at that story in specificity, but, like, members does not necessarily mean power, first off. And secondly, like, yeah, sometimes there are people who do bad shit, and the people in positions of authority who are good don't necessarily know about that. Or act necessarily accordingly. Also, was Eorzean even the leader at the time? That was a whole conversation. We'll have to talk about that later, Keelhall. But let's do Measure of His Reach now. And again, under that auspice, you can make that point really about... You could make the point about that the Conjurers Guild enables the stealing of children. You could make the point that the Marauders Guild has like bandits, many bandits that come to it or come out of it. Pugilist Guild, I mean, Haman's a pervy old man, but beyond that, you know, there are people like Rurukuta who leave to join the bad guys at first, right? I'm not trying to explain it away. I'm not saying that you're not wrong if there isn't that thing, but there's a very difference to me between institutional corruption and like bad people getting away with bad things, and then becoming a part of something without people being aware of that. Like there are people there are people of ill repute that join the like flames. Okay, let's pause this. Let's hope this doesn't get demonetize me. Well, I guess even if it does demonetize me, it's fine because the $20 that you gave will still cover that, Daniel. Oh, also, if you guys have not watched Hungry Chad, and actually, did he change his photo? I wonder if he changed his photo. There's a couple people who do lyrical videos, the lyrics for videos that are great in the community.
Oh, come, ye wayward brother, bereft of hearth and home. Beneath yon burning star there lies a heaven for the boy. Raise up your hands and voices, that fill your hearts with pride. Above the churning waters, we stand strong and unified. Blessed few born fond, but with tired hands do toil to shape this rugged land of ours and build a home for all. Beyond the silent watchmen, upon the great loch shores, now stands a mighty citadel, our rock forevermore. You who help your brothers, shrink not from Rauger's flame, but those who scorn their fellow man shall surely share his pain. Though storms of blood approach thee, hell's open heavens weep, no goodly soul ever fear. The measure of his reach.
Beautiful. Hope that pleased you, Dan. So the Lancers Guild is unrepentant themes of power. Folk was the villain, but now we know the Lancers Guild does too, and so we never finished that thread. Well, right. But that's because we don't really engage with the members who were responsible. And doesn't Folk quit? Wait a second. If I'm not mistaken. As one of my upright citizens, a man of what kept you helping your comrades stay full. It was only a matter of time before he betray you, and just like the wretched saw in prison, the Lance Guild left, so it was not easy for one to come to I conspired with my closest comrades to steal from the guild coffers. The thieves soon came to light and thought there was no suspects. It was clear that the deed had been perpetrated by someone within the ranks. An air of suspicion hanging over the guild from the day first until able to bear the guilt, I convinced my accomplices to join me in confessing, only that for them to bite their craven tongues after I had stepped forward and admitted my part in the crime, and so it was that I alone took the blame. Of course, it was the Duskwhite, everyone said. Was there any very doubt? Yep, racism. Despite my heartfelt pleas, so my so-called friends denied any involvement. Instead, they called me vulgar names, and I do not care to repeat. Can you imagine the shock and anguish of my betrayal? Would that I had the strength to force the truth out of those traitors? Would that I had the courage to escape the dungeon cell, even if it meant taking some hapless guard's life? Driven by vengeance and no small amount of self-loathing, I resolved for my courage anew. I strode the lairs for my efforts. No, okay, it wasn't. I was wondering if the people he attacked were his friends. But like, again, like, even after all Folkless did, Egwene does not dismiss him out of hand until he starts literally attacking people. The Archers Guild is just flat out racism. Certain members of it, isn't it mainly the, like, not the, like, lead, because the lead is, like, for the love of fuck, just, like, go work with her, please, like, you're on the same side, but one of the members, the Eorzean, right, has the racism problem, and it's about overcoming that partially, but it's also about, in that story, acknowledging the place that some Keeper of the Moon also, like, the animosity that's been bred towards that for the poachers exists for a reason. Ooh, you know what? Let's get our monk outfit. And yeah, no, Dan, I'm happy to do it. Sorry that if I was very pitchy and flat, one, wasn't standing, and two, I wasn't thinking to be prepared for singing very much. But no, very, very glad to have done it for you. No, that wasn't. That was it. There we go. Cool. And now Elio's got the full monk look! Woo! Yeah, I get it. It made me super mad at the time, but in retrospect, I kind of view it as a story that never got to wrap up because of crunch, probably. I don't think that. I don't think it was just not even get to wrap up because of crunch. I think it does get wrapped up. I just think some injustices don't get resolved. Like, if the characters he was talking about were members of the, like, Lancer Guild that we, like, meet and never dealt with them, I'd be with you. But we don't really even know the fate of those people, because he only mentions them right at the end, like, right before we meet him. So I guess in my mind, I did not see it as not being wrapped up. I saw it as an injustice, and injustice does not always get, catharsis, and that's part of what drove him. But you know, I see what you're saying. I do. I had a friend who said they hated that cutscene because Elise is too prominent, but I don't get that criticism. I teared up so hard at it. What do you mean? It's her moment! Like, again, I have been saying the entire way through Stormblood, right? One of the biggest issues is I don't think they handled Lise particularly well in building her up in the beginning. They need to do, like, I've had all these points I've been making about Lise, right? Absolutely she should be the one. It's like, it's her moment. It's her home. She's the leader of the resistance. What do you mean? It focuses on her prominently. It's like, they may not succeed wildly at making it her expansion, but it is her expansion. That's wild that it would bother them that she's prominent. It's like, but that's the point. For all my problems with Stormblood, the ending of Measure of His Reach was so great. I felt patriotic for a fictional country. That's awesome, Dan. Yeah, I would say Measure of His Reach and Revolutions are the themes that the musical themes that have done the least for me personally. I mean, not that they don't do anything for me. They make me feel, but like just comparative of all of them have done probably the least for me. But you know, the fact that it gave that right emotion for you is awesome. It was awesome. Good. Do you like what we do? Consider showing your support and signing up for our Patreon at www.patreon.com/Eorzean. You can get your banner you can get your name up in the banner. There will be rewards as well for there, and as well as some future stuff that we will be figuring out. Oh yeah, it also just goes a long way to supporting us and allowing for financial stability, which makes worrying about days and stuff a lot easier. My only thing about that scene is one I have among many big cutscenes. They walk far too slow. I low-key think the Archers Guild might be implied to be a safe space. There's a non-Eorzean who's afraid to leave the guild, and she's constantly putting Sylvari in his place for his racism. Right. Well, but that's the thing, is that a safe space, though? I don't think it is, because you have people there who are... You have some people who are, like, try to foster a better community, but you have people in there who are outwardly and actively hostile to the Keeper of the Moons. Like, not just, like, holding some, like, internal racism or, like, thinking things or, like, maybe saying a small something. Like, to her face being, like, you know, like, straight up. So I don't think the Archers Guild, I would say, is any better than the Lancers Guild. I'd say that this is just a fundamental Gridanian problem. I don't think those institutions... I think those institutions are completely just extensions of the rest of Gridania. You know? She meaning the Gilded Leader, sorry. No, all good, Kill. I follow your point. I do. Look at those skills actually be able to find gear in his armor chest. It's her moment, dude, yeah. It's her moment. It's like, what do you mean you're upset it's her moment? It's like... Especially if, like, even if I have my umbrage about saying, like, okay, in sections 1 and 2, right, in first Gear Abania and first half of Doma, I don't think they do enough for Lise, and I do not think they build her out enough, and I don't think her characterization is strong enough. There need to be more voice cutscenes and more moments with her. But I think that they start to get there with the Step and Doma Part 2, but then, like, also when you get to Gear Abania Part 2, you know, and section 4, and the final fourth, they do spend a lot of energy developing her. So it's like, it'd be wild to me. Like, if you don't like her, okay, I get it, I do. But why is it weird that, like, her moment is her moment, you know? It can do nothing for you because you don't like her. Again, I get that. I hear you. How can you measure his reach when he can put his arm through those rings of his? Good to see you, glad to have you, AC. Also, Kill, I don't know if I ever said it, but good to see you, glad to have you. Revolutions is mid, but as someone who's watched too many World War II movies, ending the war expansion with an anthem was just the right kind of over-the-top sentiment for me. Yeah, makes sense. I would say, like, I think one of the things I like about it is that juxtaposition of opening very early on with the Garlean anthem rendition of it having stolen it, and then this reconciliation of being able to, at long last, have home and their anthem made free. If I had $20 to spare this month, I would absolutely toss in the pot with now do the Garlean version. A Garlean version, I would be like $50 or $100 because I'm not gonna repeat fascist propaganda. But I'll do it for money. No. I mean, the Garlean anthem, I may even have drawn a hard line there. But I mean, hey, if you guys want me to, like, sing other songs in the future, and actually I will, like, not just do it pitchily in practice, I'll always do that. That's fun. And it also gets the lyrics more in my mind, because I don't think I've ever actually, like, really hardcore looked at the lyrics to the Measure of His Reach, which if you looked at the lyrics, a bunch of the lyrics are actually quest names.
I trust you are well rested and refreshed, yes? Then let us return to the front.
Hey guys, it only took us 90 minutes to get to the MSQ this time.
The greater part of the Alliance forces should have advanced into the peaks by now, but I expect we will pass many of our comrades on the road, east. There's a checkpoint along the way, as I recall, but we will need only to identify ourselves to the soldiers in order to pass.
Savar seems to think very little of anyone who isn't Gridania born. That's the other thing, is Gridania is very, very dismissive of people who aren't Gridanian as well. Like, that's also a thing. Who isn't a Gridania born Wildwood Elzen, to be fair, Mikote and Hura included. Oh yeah, that's fair. But that's also because, that's absolutely fair. Does Safari's dialogue change if you're Wildwood Elzen starting Gridania? I don't know. I'd be interested to check. Are some Gridanians vegetarians? Many. Not all, but many. It's a very common practice there. I'll repeat, fascist propaganda for money. Okay, hold up there, Ben Shapiro. Well played. I'll do the Garlean one, yeah. Well played. Can you consider singing Footfalls? Absolutely.
Heart of amber, wrought in time, cooling swiftly, bleeding light, smoldering softly, biding time, marching forward and left behind. Final hour where shadows clash, forgotten footfalls engraved in ash. Fire will be repaid before our echoes begin to fade. Fade away. Fade away.
Technically, from outside Gridania, Savar still won't like you even if you're Wildwood. Yeah, that's a good point, Chrissy. You were down by the monk story quest the whole time. Yeah.
Oh. Scions, a pleasure to have you with us again. You'll be happy to hear we've taken Alagahiri, and we've already begun fortifying it as our new base of operations in the peaks. Give a shout to the lads as you pass, eh?
I only sang the first part, and also I really like singing that first part, and I sing it a little weird, like when I do that, like I don't do it like quite like the song does it, but like I that's just fun. I literally sing that to myself when I'm just like sitting here editing sometimes.
I remember how they laughed. Alliance and resistance soldiers, eager for battle, trading jokes as we marched east towards the peaks. Beyond this last line of defenses lay the locks and the city. Breaching it would be no small feat. But we beat the Imperials back, just like that. And we liberated a village, the first of many.
Chrissy. I'm a Momodi stan, Daniel, but she is great. And I will say, I do love Bateron a lot more after starting in Limsa as Elio. That RP walk. So, Chrissy, are you saying that I shouldn't play the rest of the game like this? No mount, just walking everywhere? Kamar, good to see you, glad to have you! Yeah, Kamar, that makes sense.
Though the pass through the pass and onwards to the southeast, was it? My village, that one we visited with Mefrid, is far to the north. There's no easy way to get there from here, though.
So I'm just gonna take a second. I just want because I think it's really easy to like not notice the beauty of Abania. I just want to take some time to like stare at it. And like we can't really see the beauty of like the I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen, but there's like the floating hills over there. But like there's also, you know, Neoncrump's Hope. You know, there's the crystal. There is a lot of beauty here. And sadly a lot of it's hidden. So like a lot of times it's very easy to like not notice like certain like little cool things. So like there's a little cool thing over here. There's a little cool thing over here. There's a bunch of cool stuff over there. There's like the thing is they actually made Gearbania as a map really dense with little cool things. But because of that, a lot of it like feels, a lot of people just like pass completely over it. Like, pound for pound, there's way more in the peak. There's way more points of interest in the peaks than there are in Ilmeg, for example. Like, way more. Des, good to see you. Glad to have you. I suspect you could be Jordan's light heart and still some of the people grid on and won't like you. People like that will never be satisfied and she'll find someone else to shun. Yeah. Well, but certainly extend your playtime. I started in Limsa, so Baderon holds a special place in my heart. Yeah, I mean, that's part of why I love Momodi, right? But also, like, her with, like, laughing her ass off in the, like, Moogle delivery quest with her, like, lover. Well, her secret admirer.
As you can see, this part of the peaks is much higher than the northern reaches, hence why the Imperials built Specula and Puratorius where they did. See those 3 towers to the east? That's her. Sits right on the edge of the cliff, so attacking from the north is a fool's errand. From the south, or on the other hand, she's no different from any other Imperial installation. You see now why Valadina was so important, eh? Right then, come along. They're waiting for us in Alligahiri.
The in-game walk is okay, but the cutscene one is about half speed. I can't RP walk as a Mikote because Lady Mikote walk is just a constant catwalk hip swinging. I'm surprised you don't like those when those hip swing, Demens. Takes me out of whatever moment I'm trying to revel in. There's hardly any vegetarian in sight of the landscape. Vegetation, yeah. Okay, but also catwalk. Kind of hot, though. Yeah, there we go. Waited for Tam to say it. They must walk slow for drama. I totally feel you. Yeah. I love the Afghanistan, Pakistan, Northern Indian vibes of Abania. Yeah. There's a lot of confluence of a lot of different arid and Middle Eastern inspirations, that's for sure. Well, yeah, but time and place. Very stark landscape, but not necessarily unpicturesque, yeah. It has a rugged beauty, that's for sure. I had someone point out that Girabania might be based on the Ottoman. I think Ottoman's the main route for Ottoman is actually much more Baja. There's a lot of, like, Turkish, East European and, like, Turkish and Ottoman architecture and ideas. That would be my opinion, but then again, I'm not super informed about the totality of it. But I mean, they take inspiration from multiple places and multiple times, so it's very possible that it is also partly that. We're all 3 at the guild, former adventurers that retired, Baderon, Momodi, and Mione. I don't know off the top of my head. That's a great question. One day I'm gonna eat the food that I got. Not this day, though. Baderon. The proprietor of the Drowning Wench in Limsa Limsa, Baderon is the only son of Lodwicus. However, the founder of the Adventurers Guild seemingly cast a long shadow, and Baderon grew rebellious, leaving home when he was but a lad. He became a mercenary and threw himself into pitched battle time and time again. At some point, something must have changed, for the Midlander man quit the sellsword life to open a tavern, and there established a space for the Adventurers Guild. Now a man of 48 winters, he acts as something of a teacher, helping the younger generation find its feet. Baderon's nickname, Ten Fingers, is a mark of his respect for his skill as a mercenary, for only a few of those who walk that path will leave with all their digits whole. Momodi. A lady of the Dunes folk, Momodi owns and manages the quicksand in Ul'dah. As a leader within the Adventurers Guild, she advises many taking their first step in the profession, and is wont to aid others oft calling upon her 44 summers of experience. Momodi's 44?! Holy shit! However, she does not so with caution, due to the regret she harbors for unalterably changing the future of one young man by exerting excess pressure on the boy when she was only intended encouragement. It is said that she treasures her hairpin, crafted by Momoroto, precisely to remind herself of this incident. Nonetheless, many frequent her tavern in the search of her sage advice, and Momodi is said to enjoy assisting those troubled by matters of heart. So it's more that she's just like a facilitator of the Adventurers Guild for the Quicksands. Mione runs the Carlin Canopy in the Gridania. From the establishment Open Terrace, one can see the mighty water wheel built by the Wildwoods woman's best friend, Figaga Figa, and always smell the comforting scent of tea. Mione's passion indeed, she can prepare a most reinvigorating brew thanks to her talents as a herbalist and mixer of medicines. At the age of 36, Mione is a well-known figure, having done much to aid the city-state. This is no small part due to her role in the Adventurers Guild. As the Gridanian liaison, she has earned the trust of not only adventurers, but also the townsfolk, who come to her when they require a reliable hand. I hope that helps answer you somewhat. I'm the coward, give me your food. What food is for cowards? This is more for Archimedes to me than Ottoman. Achaemenid, yeah. I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 5 for 14. The world may or know. Yeah. Is the name of the region Kamar? Is that the name of the region? Frontier vibes there, yeah. I'm the coward, give me your food. The area around Peshawar and west through the Khyber Pass, yeah. Betaron is a retired sellsword. Post-Moogle quest mentions it, yeah. Yes, and so did the EE one. Please eat food. Food is important. I will when we get to a voice cutscene. I watched Limsa start 1.0 and was kind of surprised how much meaner Betaron was in 1.0. Yeah, there's a lot of character differences. In general, it's much better to know about 1.0 in a general sense, because if you try to compare it one-to-one, it like doesn't always line up perfectly. Thanks for telling me. I learn something new every day. Always, Daniel. We're here for help with lore and also have a good time. Momodi is a tiny cougar, confirmed. That I believe. It's kind of an Imperialist era designation, though. Ah, interesting. Now I learned something new. Thanks, Kamar. So the MILF Zen is the youngest and Adventurers Guild liaison. Yeah, who knew? Does sound like a colonialist thing. All a place people have lived for a millennia frontier. Yeah. Calling a place people have lived for millennia frontier. Yeah, absolutely. Could see her being 40. She has the mother feel to her, and not in a weird way. I know how this chat thinks. I mean, Gemini, you said it. It's already too late. But no, she's the youngest by far. She's over a decade younger than Betaron. And she's almost a decade younger than Momodi. It does. Lalfell age gracefully. Yep. Apparently they do.
Here we are, the new base of operations for the Alliance and the Resistance.
Ah, there you are.
Greetings, General. I see you have been quite busy in our absence.
Less than you may imagine. The Imperials fled at our coming, and we took the village without a fight. Your timing is impeccable. We are about to discuss our strategy to seize the Specula Imperatorius.
Though we are fresh from the road, we should be glad to attend.
Good. To take a moment to gather yourselves, then join us when you're ready.
MILF is in. Look, we all want a good MILF Zen in our lives, don't you lie. I have no children, so sadly I am no Dilfazin.
Well, you heard the flame, General. Looks like we've got a meeting to attend.
How hard is it to make lore accurate Bajan names? I'd have to think on the AC, I'd have to go look. Hrothgar and Baj are two things that I don't have a strong background in. But we could definitely talk about that and look into that. How hard is it? I think you can make decently informed guesses. I think you can make decently informed guesses. We don't have any like official rules for it. However, we do have EE3 coming out soon, so we may have a lot more towards that. Part of the reason I never made a Hrothgar video was because I was waiting for an EE3, and now we're getting it, so that's when I'll make it.
That everyone? Then let us begin. Aligahiri is ours, for a mercy. We took it without losing a single man, but we dare not grow complacent. Specula Imperatorius will not be won so easily.
If I may, General, should we not pause to consider the Imperials' motivations? For Xenos to surrender a fortified settlement of strategic importance without so much as firing a shot is inexplicable.
We searched the village and found no traps or other signs of sabotage. Suspicious though it may be, I will not refuse the gift from our enemy. The path to Alamigo is through the east. Though Specula Imperatorius and Castrum Abania, it bears repeating, however, that the latter is home to a massive cannon with unparalleled range and destructive power.
Which means that we'll need to strike Specula Imperatorius quickly, both to limit their ability to locate our forces in the field, and to utilize the installation as a shield against attack, as they would doubtless not risk damaging the towers. I see. Then we have no choice but to accept what we have been given.
Aye, that's the way of it. I have no doubt that Xenos has got something planned, but we'll just have to deal with it when the time comes. To the assault, then. The main host will commence a direct assault on Specula Imperatorius. During that time, I will hold the Scions in reserve at Aligahiri to deal with any Imperial forces that may be dispatched in response.
Understood. Wait a minute, we should be fighting with you and the Resistance. I understand you don't want to rely too much on Elio after what he's been through, but at least let the rest of us do our part.
She wants to fight, I say let her fight. We all have to let people make their own decisions here.
Thanks, I knew you'd understand. Mayhap it would be best if I accompanied you. Alice can stay with Elio. Oh, go if you must. The two of us can take our care of ourselves.
You have your orders. Dismissed.
Emeliance. Hey, Emeliance, yeah. Emeliance is Milphazin, to be sure. And to be fair, I would not apply that label to her if she basically did not apply it to herself. If you've done the turn-ins for her. Meanwhile, deep within the Imperial Research Facility. Finally, I can eat. I love that they're still wearing the freaking Garlean helmets with lab coats.
Oh, my head.
I can explain that, Yukio. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a bit.
Let us see. So, she lives. Impressive. Or merely lucky, though that too may prove a useful trait.
My lord, what have you done to me?
Though we Garleans are intellectually and physiologically superior in almost all respects, we lack the hereditary traits required for the reliable manipulation of ether, hence our unique inability to wield magics. This deficiency, for want of a better word, saw us subjected to decades of oppression by the lesser races, and we were eventually driven to seek shelter in the cold northern reaches of Eorzean. Fortunately, said region was replete with vast deposits of ceruleum, which proved instrumental in the development of Magitech, a revolutionary technology conceived to compensate for our disadvantage. It was with Magitech that we grew strong, that our nation became an empire. Yet, ultimately, this was an extrinsic solution to an intrinsic problem. What I wanted was not a crude device to be used in lieu of magic. Through modification of the Garlean genome, I argued that it might be possible to enhance a subject's ability to manipulate ether, effectively empowering them to wield magics. Alas, my theories were met with consternation in the Imperial Court. Only Lord Xenos, with commendable foresight and wisdom, deigned to support my research.
You gave me this treatment, but I'm not Garlean.
Alamegan, through and through. What you have been granted is far greater than mere magic. Before that lesser light, it is as a second sun.
I am informed that Alagiri was recently occupied by the Resistance, and that an attack on Specular Imperatoris is considered imminent. This could provide an ideal opportunity to test her performance in the field.
Your skulls, was it? They have joined the garrison at the Watchtower?
Yes, my lord. By your leave, I would rendezvous with them and lead a counterattack against the insurgents.
No. Even were you to leave now, you would not arrive in time. There is another duty I would entrust to you.
Found you.
The Imperials aren't really custom. I mean, literally, you can just put it in, like, you can randomly generate them very easily. So I doubt that, Keelhaul. I don't really know, because most of them aren't custom models. Most of them are actually just generic models, but with randomized features. So, and also the thing is that we know that Elizons exist in other places, and also were brought from different territories. So I doubt it. I don't know why, because it wouldn't be cutting corners, because it takes just as much effort to make an Elizon model as it would to make a Hydaelyn model. Because those are the conscripts. MILF isn't just about age, yeah. MILF is about having children. That's why it is a mother I'd like to friendship. I'm more scared of Alisay's retribution than Fortunals. Yes. I really still need to ask what the hell is Resonant. Okay, so the Resonant is a synthetic echo. What it is effectively they copy Kryle's soul. They like take Kryle's soul and they like imagine making like a mold out of it, and then taking that mold and squeezing other people's souls through that mold. And what happens is a byproduct of that is being granted the attributes and byproducts of having a soul of a sundered individual, but because it's synthetic and because it's weird, it manifests itself as the Resonant. So the Resonant has the same abilities as your standard Echo, you know, like the ability to have Echo visions, all that, you know, stuff like that. But also, remember that if you have the Echo, Echoes can be different depending on an individual's disposition. So like Kryle's Echo has some extra like dispositional abilities that we don't necessarily have, and on and on and on. Which is why, so for instance, for Dola, when she does what she's going to do later, she specifically has that ability because of the Resonant / Echo manifested in her that with the normal abilities plus that. It just happens sometimes. The different individuals have different abilities. But that's the Resonant is, in the simplest terms, synthetic Echo. It is synthetically given Echo. That is really what it is. Alice is the same VA as Estinian, I imagine that. Really? I didn't hear it at all. That was really good if it wasn't. Which is funny, because his, like, Ralgur is just fucking Estinian for days. They might be wearing helmets to hide the eye, since I can't imagine they want to make a bunch of Imperial custom models for nameless characters. Well, okay, so I can tell you on the back end, that's not how that works. So, like, the thing is for that, is that if they're hiding you can apply the eye onto... the Garlean head can be applied onto Elizons and Hyur. Like a random Garlean head can be applied onto them because of the fundamental model that they're like Euless, for instance, is a Hyrian model. Just with the head is custom for him, but like they can apply just the Garlean eye on people as like a model addition. So I don't know that well. Maybe you're right. Maybe they didn't at this time, Stormblood. Because that's true 5.0 onwards, but I don't know that maybe that wasn't true earlier. But that seems so weird as a solution. But yeah, no, you know what? That's a good pitch. Maybe that was the case during Stormblood. But that seems odd. Based on, like, some of the back-end stuff I know. But it could be. Desperately trying not to make the whole scene out of context and failing. My lord, what are you doing to me? A test of your reflexes. Somebody started to wonder if all the post-AR... Yeah, we talked about that. This is Thancred. They could do conscripts. This is Thancred. I really shouldn't like Xenos as much as I do, but he is easily one of my favorite bad guys ever. No, you can absolutely... You can love a bad guy. You can love Emmett Silk. You can love Xenos and still abhor their actions. Like, you can think, this character's incredibly... I love how this character's portrayed. I love how this character's written. I love what this character does. But, like, you don't have to, like, hero worship them and think they're a good person at the same time, right? So, no, I think you can absolutely adore Xenos as a villain, because he's a fantastic villain, at least in my opinion. Just don't conflate that with thinking he's the best, you know, like in terms of like being a good person or in the right or something.
So full of fire and eager, weren't they? Well, I wouldn't worry too much. They're strong, and they have each other. At least you've spared me the trouble of having to speak up. I was about to let Lys go alone.
How is my Emmett Selk impression? Not great, I can't imagine. Honestly, I probably would just go, like, deep and be very, like, the fabric of the star had begun to fray, its lands rent by tooth and claw. But there were some who stood in defiance of that fate. I probably have to look at, like, lines and, like, then, like, consider, like... maybe I could do something... I don't know that I'd ever be close to his performance, both I just don't have the same cadence and, like, timbre in my voice, but I could definitely do something. I also want to point out that Ferdol's abilities seem to be a variation of Krau's ability, just used differently to do the process. Seems the way, at least. Yeah, it's possible. We just don't know for sure. Since YouTube, we're contractually obligated to say like, play, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Jubilant. Much appreciated. I appreciate you filling in for Ray today. Xenos might be a sociopath, but he's our... Well, no, I mean, he's a sociopath. And he's also pitiable. And you can know that he was forged more than born. And you can, like... You know, there's a world in which... There's the reason that he's an interesting reflection of us is because of the nature that power in the hands of an individual who's forged into a weapon and a monster doesn't just make them better, and if anything, it makes them worse. UMHTVA has a very unique timbre. Yeah, definitely, Tracy. Oh, wow, that's awesome. I didn't think about it. It makes so much sense what happens later. Yeah. Xenos isn't a paragon of virtue. No, Issa. Strangely enough.
We have a fair bit of ground to cover, so we should split up. If you come across any Imperial soldiers, you know what to do. Oh, and so you know, I sent word to Arnvald's squadron. They're already searching over the nearby areas, so we have allies in the event we encounter anything beyond our means.
Final Fantasy 1, 14 best game community. Wasn't that like a year or two ago? But yeah. If that was did they win? Was there a award thing going on right now? But yeah, so like here, Hell's Open, Heaven's Weep, right? Is those are lines from Measure of His Reach. Okay, then, do you at least have his hand waved down? I know, I did, but now my hand's really cold and stiff. I'm gonna that's a good thing. Thanks for pointing that out, Yukio, or AC. I'm gonna practice that for when we get to Shadowbringers. I'll work on my Emmet Selk so that I actually give it a good, honest try. Maybe I'll do a cosplay for it, too. I mean, I already have a Crystal Exarch cosplay in the red, but I wouldn't mind doing an Emmet Selk cosplay, too. Although that might destroy Willow. I like Emmett the same way I like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. They're monsters with humanity left to them, and you can't help but sympathize with them even if you know how they're irredeemable. Yeah, you know, and I guess I would say in that case, I would almost say that more in line with... Because I think Emmett's such an interesting thing because the byproduct of I can't talk about it yet because we are not there. But I definitely would say, I would say the exact same thing, Daniel, though I would use that more in terms of saying about Xenos and Gollum in some ways. Because with Emmett, I think there's an extra few layers there due to the circumstance of his existence that are a different even kind of tragedy on top of that. Which Emmett? Well, I was assuming Shadowbringers Emmett, because that would be fun. But then, like, the thing is that, like, the other one, which I need to talk around, but the other one, I guess the thing is if I had those robes, I could use that for something else, like a gender-bent mother figure character, if you know what I mean. I'm definitely doing a certain, green-eyed depressode boy, for sure, at some point. They won it again? Hot damn! Woo! Awesome, thanks Yukio for letting us know. What was Yoshi P's statement? And also, guys, let's be proud. Let us be proud. Let's be proud and joyful of 14's community, and let us continue to try to support it being that kind of place. We're not always going to succeed. We're not always going to be perfect. We might not even always be the best. But let us keep working towards making it so that we can feel proud that as the general trend, 14 has one of, if not the best community. Imagine doing old... now we're going to name his voice. No, I say Issa. Imagine doing old Sola's Galvus cosplay. How would you find a beard that long? I would just let mine grow out for about 2 months because my facial hair grows incredibly fast. I shaved this morning. I don't even know if you can see it with the group. You mean the ultimate Final Fantasy 14 MILF, Helio? Yes, I do mean the ultimate Final Fantasy 14 MILF. You're not wrong, Daniel. One of these days, I still need to take up that idea that one of you pitched me about creating a Mother Crystal dildo. I need to get better at 3D modeling and non-CAD software in order to do it. But then I could totally, like, just 3D print that, put it on a base, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Some suggested what? Now you heard me. Did I stutter? Stonks. Elias, good to see you. Glad to have you. I suddenly got a spike in followers when I made a Horshvon HCS on how he reacted seeing the 2B bottoms. Shocking. Surprise, surprise there, right, Yukio? Why not both? I mean, okay, the Mother Crystal one is the dildo, and then you make a Zodiac butt plug, right? Like, that's... Right? Right? You know, the darkness. I mean, he is the being of darkness, so... What about cosplay as John Fantasy? John Fantasy? Do you mean Meteor? Gonna get going. Enjoyed lurking, but still not 100% mentally. No worries, Aurora. Good to see you. Glad to have you, and hope you have a great day.
Give me a moment, Elio. Say that again, if you would. No, maintain your distance for now. Understood. Keep me appraised of any developments. That was Arnvald. The pair that was spying on us in the fringes has followed us here. What about you, Elio? Any trouble? And there I was, thinking we might be due some peace and quiet. Glad to hear you've dealt with them. I hope the assault on Speculum Imperatorius is going well.
I believe in this industry, folks, they call that dramatic irony. Cool. Now I can get my ramen. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. You've improved, lad.
Come now, father. You lured the fool onto my blade, and do not try to deny it.
Guys, do not take that out of context.
Our work here is all but done. What of Conrad and his men?
They are for the main tower. The skulls have offered fierce resistance thus far, but Conrad seems to believe he can convince them to lay down their arms.
Then we will tend to the stragglers down below. With me!
Yeah, Yukio, she would have learned it in a matter of weeks to months. Like, so, like, yeah, very fast. Although, if she has a job crystal, also, she may have had the shortcut. I don't believe there's any implication she has one, though. Does she say so? I think she only says she learned the maneuvers from Zrun.
Report.
Enemy forces have overrun the lower facilities and appear to be mounting an assault on the main tower. We have
Hey,
received
Ariante!
a request for reinforcements. A unit of legionaries has been mustered and is ready to depart. They await your orders, Commander.
He really sounds like an Imperial from Star Wars right there.
Stand down.
I feel like
Commander?
Tell them to stand down.
Commander, if I may, our people, your people are still in there. They will be slaughtered.
You think I don't know that? I want nothing more than to help them. To lead the bloody charge. But I have my orders. Lord Xenos said no reinforcements. He would have us use the main cannon to destroy the installation.
fucking ruthless.
Kill our own soldiers? You must be mistaken.
Mayhap you'd like to ask Lord Xenos yourself. I thought not.
Initiate the firing sequence. Wars are won on the backs of the dead. Theirs and ours. There is no truth but this. We must remain firm and resolute and always, always do our duty. Now, give the order.
Tam, within reason, somewhere it's probably
initiating firing sequence. Release safety locks. Deploy main cannon.
weeks to months, but not like much more than like 3 months. The one thing we know is that it has not been 4 years between ARR and Endwalker. That's the one thing we can say for sure.
Rudolph, Emlyn. For us. For our people. For our future.
I need you to confirm the target, Commander.
Specula Imperatoris, main tower. Fire when ready.
See, you even hear the echo sound, right? That's also, I forgot if I said this, but that's also why they needed Cryle. They needed someone with the echo as the template. If you haven't read the Fordola short story, you absolutely should. Yeah, damn. I definitely... Because you see, she's not just, like, a vicious monster. She is conflicted and also genuinely willing to sacrifice what she genuinely think is best for her people. She's not just doing it because she's selfish. She's doing it because she thinks it is the best path. Which is wrong. But she sincerely believes it. And is willing to sacrifice for it.
What in the seven hells?
Long-range artillery.
Those treacherous bastards. Their people were still fighting. Full retreat. Now! Relay the orders!
Understood.
That, well, not exactly, Keelhaul. It's basically...
Retreat. I repeat, all forces retreat!
Basically, Yoshi P's been like, basically just treat it like that. It's not, it is that. It is effectively just think about it like that for now and don't worry about it. It is a time bubble. The canonic answer right now is, it's a time bubble. There is no canonic answer. We can make educated guesses, and there are things that we can say that are pretty explicit. Like, we know that the twins aren't 20 yet, based on some very specific comments. The year thing is, some people have argued it's a year thing because of certain comments some characters made, but those comments can easily be used, or are often like, no, it's been at least a year, but it doesn't mean that it has only been a year.
By the 12, did you see that? The main tower's just collapsed. You heard it too, didn't you? It must have been the cannon at Castrum Abania, but that was an Imperial installation, and the troops were still... Damn it, no one's responding. I don't know if the shell is being jammed or... We have to go right now. They need our help.
Red, good to see you, glad to have you. Initially, I played this part completely hated for what she did. What was her thought process here? Like, what was her motivation here? Her motivation is she believe. So remember, so I would read Rajora's short story, but remember, the reason Ferdola's doing what she is she thinks the Garlemald cannot be defeated. She has been shown time and time again that Garlemald cannot be defeated. And that she's trying to also inherit her father's legacy and think about what her father did and her father's actions and what her father believed, and also the way in which her father was killed. So she thinks that the best course of action for the good of her and the Alamegans and her people are to fight to find a place to belong in Garlemald's new world, not to fight against them. Not to free themselves. She doesn't believe they can win, and she doesn't believe that it will do any good in the end. That is where she's at right now. That is why she's willing to sacrifice her friends not because she's sacrificing just her friends, because she knows they all believe in the same thing. They all agree that is all what they're doing. That is the reason they created skulls. That's the reason they joined the fight. She's sacrificing them knowing that they would say, yes, that is the right move. So she's not just being like, oh, I'm saving my own skin because Xenos will kill me otherwise or something. She is, in her standpoint, fighting for a better future and sacrificing for a better future in that moment. Again, she is wrong. But she is sincerely motivated in a way that is understandable. I can't agree with it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't follow it. But in this very same way that people love Emmett, it is this very similar. You can understand those motives. You know? The timeline of this game is hard to narrow down specifics, yeah. If you try to say specifically how long it has been between X and Y, there is no clear canonic answer because the actual answer is everything's in a time bubble. T-Stream taking things out of context sounds fake. How could you possibly not think he's adorable in that helm? Right, Pippin? Yeah, very cute. Yeah, basically Fordola is Quisling? I don't know who that is. I don't know why I started walking without grabbing the quest from Alice.
This way, there's no time to lose.
What a concrete answer, but Yoshi P is taking into consideration the fans have made their own interpretations. My word of light had a child with horse one. I don't have any idea. Sorry, not to make that Yukio. I don't. Just in terms of like the canonic timeline, I have no idea how to reconcile that with certain events that happened later. Would ruin that, yeah. Like even just I absolutely would agree with you, but I saw a 10-year-old comment from Koji saying that everything takes place in 1 year. I would love to be wrong, but that to be sure. Right, but 10-year-old comment from Koji means that they're talking about ARR. Right? Like if you're talking about a 10-year-old comment, you're saying that ARR happened in 1 year. Not the entirety of the story that happens after that. And also, like, Koji is one of their lore people, but, like, also there have been times when Koji has said things on the side like that have not been the canonic answer, the same way that Yoshida has given answers in, live letters that are, here's my speculation. So if Koji says, like, this is what I would be very careful to look at what the language Koji used, because usually he's also very careful about what he says. He'd be like, we've been operating under the assumption that it's been about 1 year. It's very different than saying it's been 1 year. Ah, okay, Chrissy. Yeah.
It's worse than it looks. He probably wasn't even... Pull yourself together. The gate. That is our way inside. We need to find my brother right now.
I'm glad you're here, Elio. In case he isn't obvious, the Imperials fired on us on Spicula Imperatorius. I didn't think they had it in them. To kill their own men, just to kill us. God damn it them all!
Where's my brother? Tell me where he is, and I want to see him. He was in the tower when it was struck, but they need not mean anything. Our forces are still evacuating, and many remain unaccounted for. Alice, listen. There are soldiers wounded and dying all around us. Soldiers with families just like you and me. They need our help. Do you understand? He's right. I'll take to the north. You take the east.
As far as Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker are concerned, the official answer has been consistently Time Bubble. I can't speak for Heavensward. I don't know any comments from them, and any comment during A Realm Reborn were so far removed from that they may have altered somewhat what their attitude on it.
Thank you. I think I can manage on my own.
Also, if it's 10 years old, it might even be 1.0. Like, in terms of, like, he may have been referring to 1.0, so I'd want to be...
For a moment there, I thought I was bound for Thal's great halls. Ye gods, what were the Imperials thinking?
Long Branch, good to see you, glad to have you. I'm just playing twice a week like we always do. All in thread. Perfect kill, awesome.
Just give me a moment to let the world stop spinning, would you? There's Alighieri not far. I'll make it. I'll make it.
I mean, as we see, that's not necessarily wrong, Tam.
Ugh, everything hurts. I think I was struck by debris from the tower. Wait, I know you. Eorzean, Ward of House Photoms. We fought together on the Steps of Faith. You saved my life back then, and now... I can walk. Thank you 1,000 times, thank you. Conrad! Conrad, can you hear me? Nago, put him down over here. O mighty Ralgar, O noble Azima, I beg of you, do not take him from us.
Oh, that's nice that she's praying to Azima because she's a keeper of the sun.
Conrad! Conrad, speak to me!
It was all so sudden. Conrad had just convinced the last few skulls to surrender when we heard the bang and everything started to shake. We carried the survivors to safety, but Conrad's... We have done what we can for him. All that remains is to pray.
Conrad?
Is that you, Lise? I can't see a damn thing. Well, that's that then. Time's up.
What are you talking about? You'll be on your feet before you know it.
It's all right, Lise. I've lived long enough. But listen, I want you to lead the resistance in my stead.
Don't say another word. You'll recover. We'll recover. We'll bring freedom to Alamigo together. We're not going to stop here.
No, you won't. Everything we've built, everyone we've brought together, I know you'll show them the way. You've got it in you, Lise. Not because you're Curtis's daughter or Ida's sister, but because you're you. Because you're you.
Conrad.
Lead them to victory. To freedom.
I will, Conrad. I will. I promise.
Y'all, thanks for sending me that link. I'll definitely check it out.
Next round, double the charge.
Come, Nidhogg. We are...
He's back! The boy's back! I've never seen this during the night.
That's the cerulean pipeline.
Impossible!
Y'all go
Everyone,
crazy at the
man.
gay bulge.
Shoot the bastard! Shoot him!
Just no sells it completely.
My lance has slain far greater beasts. You're welcome.
That's what she said? That's what he said. I hope that's not what she said.
Notify all units! I want that intruder found! And get the engineers to fix my bloody cannon!
I disagree that they don't lay that foundation, Daniel, because there's 4 separate scenes with him that are talking about Lise. And setting her up for him passing on the leadership. Both 2 in the beginning and 2 when you come back. I think the problem is not that they didn't lay that foundation. I think the biggest problem is they don't characterize Lise far strongly enough in the first third to make it so that you believe him when he says, because you're you, and create a stronger relationship with him in the first third. But I think in terms of writing, they do have multiple scenes that establish he is intending to give it up to Lise. And they have one a couple quests ago that is explicitly him saying that's his intent. So I do think they set it up. I just think it's not as strong as it could be. Yeah, they do. Conrad talked about how he wasn't going to lead them forever at some point. Yeah. Yeah. So I think the only way you can argue that they don't set it up is if you ignore the quest text. I think that's the only way you can say that. I do think you can say it's not. I wish there was more of a even stronger relationship with Lise and him, or Lise was stronger or something. But they do absolutely say in 4 separate pieces of dialogue, and one where you have multiple dialogue options, and literally you're allowed to say, "Oh, you'll continue to lead us," or "Lise will lead us," or "I'm glad you asked for me to lead us." And regardless of which one you have, he answers like, "No, I have Lise in mind." Darlings are supposed to be fascist because much like Imperial Stormtroopers, they can't aim for shit. Rachel, good to see, glad to have you. It was part of the Exorcist during the flood of the War of the Magi. Oh, is Gemini asking about the Young Crump's Hope? I recently was in and I learned about the boat thing on the mountain was left from a giant flood or something. What's the story behind that? Yeah, Young Crump's Hope. Okay, here. Why don't I'm gonna do this quest first and I'll talk about Young Crump's Hope.
We could have killed them, or we could have walked away, but instead we tried to convince them to lay down their arms, and we tried to seek a peaceful resolution. We showed them mercy, and that was their response, fire and blood. This was their answer. Such crimes cannot go unpunished, and they must not. God is my witness, there will be a reckoning. Forgive me. Now is not the time for vows of vengeance. We must remain calm and rational and in control. The Imperials have demonstrated a willingness to fire on their own. So long as we remain here, we are in danger. We three will see to Comrade Kemp's body. Find my sisters and return to Alighieri.
So, the Young Crump's Hope. During the 5th Astral Era, the Umbra Calamity, that was the 6th Umbra Calamity, was a worldwide flood. And it, the same way that, like, Bahamut happened, or the earthquake that destroyed Alag. But what Young Crump's Hope is that an astrologian, Rogadin, from Eorzean, named Nyankrumph, saw portents of the coming apocalypse, and he came to Eorzea to try to save as many people as he could. And he came on his ship, on an ark, that ark. But what happened is that he saved a bunch of people, but they got caught in the waves of the oncoming flood, and so he had no other option. He cast actually, where is it? Is it? Yeah, there's it. He cast Flow, basically, the spell that Y'shtola cast that disappears her, on the entire boat and the people, and it teleported them into the mountains of Abania. Because he didn't have control over where they landed. They ended up there. The same way that Thancred didn't have control of ending up in Ishgard, right? And it's been there ever since. Yes, but Lise hasn't really done anything to make her seem like the best candidate for leadership. In contrast to what? I mean, again, but those are that's two different points. You can question Conrad's choice to do it, but the story does set up that he intends to do it, right? But the other thing I would say is, having replayed Stormblood, is that, I don't know, I don't think I necessarily agree. She shows resolve, leadership, and an understanding of her people. She grows a lot over her time in Doma as well. And they have multiple little mini-arcs. I think they could be much better. I do not think it is strong enough. I do think there could be a lot more to it. I do think there could be a lot stronger characterization and a lot added to it. But I don't think that there's no recourse or any reason to say that she is complete. Like, he clearly sees her resolve and her ability to take care of shit and her ability to understand the people. And remember, she's been working with the Resistance, not just up to this point, but also during all throughout 3.0 and 3.x as well. So she has a relationship with him beyond the bounds of just what we've seen. Narrative of the comrades passed on, but Lise hasn't had the on-screen time to make a proper payoff for her. Yeah. No, I think it's supposed to be just because for the first third, they just did not give her enough characterization. It was one death that didn't hit me in the feels. Her father's name is also a powerful flag people rally behind as well. Yeah, that is true, but it's not the only thing that defined her. Absolutely, her father's name is a good rally point for resistance in a dark moment. The rest of the expansion now is a job showing whether she has the right for the task. Right, and the thing is that for him, it's a profession of faith as well, right? It's not just it's not just oh, she's the only choice. He clearly shows that he has a profession of faith in her ability to lead, the ability to inherit his legacies, the inherent legacies of Yida and of Curtis, you know? It's short for Christopher. What? I don't remember being sort of surprised by Lise taking over, but it's complicated because, I don't want to over-criticize something that seems to set some people off and full-blown hate of Lise. I want to over-criticize something that seems to set some people off into full-blown hate of Lise. No. I mean, yeah, we can talk. Look, I have strong opinions, guys. You're welcome to share them. Here's my thing. If you say something I disagree with, I'm going to tell you I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not gonna be like, ban you, or you're not, why aren't you understanding me? Why aren't you agree with me? Get out of my stream or something. Just know that if you say something and I don't necessarily agree, I'll say it. I'll say what I'm thinking, but I'm not, and I'll provide why I think that. But you may convince me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I didn't like that part, but I still thought Lise was mostly overall fine. I think the problem is Lise is fine and she needs to be great. I don't think the problem is Lise is bad. I think Lise is fine. And the problem is that Lise needed to be great. Okay, let's go back now that we've talked Neon Chrome. So I like Lise, but I don't see her as a leader. Sure. I mean, she has to come into that role, right? Even in the point X, it's about her coming into that role and coming into that role of leadership as well. But the same way that Nanamo has to come into her role as a leader and struggles with it at first. Nobody did until after this expansion. She's also been a Scion, which counts for something. Yeah, she's very capable. John, good to see you. Glad to have you, by the way. The story leaves you wanting more, but it is there in the story. Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think it's fair to say I don't see Lise as a leader. I think it's totally fair to say, I don't think they characterize her enough, or I don't think they characterize her enough. I just think, let's criticize the, lack of something when it's not there, rather than, an aspect of that is there, The thing is, I don't think Conrad is really the leader of the entire Resistance. He mostly speaks for them as one of the biggest cells out there. I think that was mentioned near the start of Stormblood. Yes, he is not. He is the core leadership, but they are a coalition. That is not untrue. Yeah, I like my Chocobo Knight thing. Yeah. I think the problem I have with Lise is that I've never really been invested in her character. Yep. But I would totally be friends with her. Yeah, Remy, I'll tell you, Lise is. I'm not a huge Lise defense brigade in terms of being oh, I super love Lise. Lise is one of the weakest Scions, if not it is the weakest Scion to me. And Yida was too, frankly. But I don't think she's bad. I think she's fine, and I think the problem is she's put into a story in which she really needed to be great. And I think that the story fails her because the story doesn't give her time to be great. Not just that she isn't great, but the story doesn't give her time to be great because you don't get any real meaningful moments with her until halfway through Stormblood. Most of the meaningful moments that could have been given to her are given to Alice or given to other people. And she gets a couple funny moments here and there where, she kicks a Namazu, but she doesn't get character moments, especially not voice-acted moments, I I think they did Papalymo dirty. I don't think they did Papalymo dirty. I think wanting like, to have more of a character and having someone go when it's right for their character and their choices isn't doing them dirty. I think I want more of Papalymo. I wanted more of Papalymo. Don't get me wrong. I want more of him. I can't get behind them being done dirty. Because they give him the most epic of moments. They give him it's such a sincere moment of him being the legacy of Louis Swan, Louis Swan's greatest student, and standing for what he believed in more than anything and securing the future, and dying a hero on his own terms. And securing Lisa's future too, which is important to him. Like, to me, he's not done. If he had just been like tripping, falling over the edge with the griffin or something, then yeah, fucking they did him dirty. But just because there's not, we want more in my mind doesn't mean it's done bad, you know, or he's done dirty. But you know, reasonable minds can differ.
There, that should suffice for now. Go on and join the others. Tell me you found Alfino. Tell me he is all right. Oh, thank the 12. I don't know what I would have done. Though, saying that... What will the Resistance do without Comrade Kemp? Sorry, not here, not now. We should return to Aligahiri. Keep an eye out for any wounded who need our help on the way.
Sounds like Stormblood needed a new lease on life. Astriel, good to see you, and I'm glad that no one has ever made that joke before. She really needs a chance to get a new lease on... God damn it, not you two. I think she needed more time with Hien. Yeah, I think more time with Hien would have done a lot. Absolutely. But I think if I had to have like one primary criticism, like one solvable, like deeply solvable, non-intractable criticism of Stormblood that I think would have fixed it a lot, I do think really would have been more Lise, ironically. You know, the thing that not a lot of people want. But like making her a much stronger character. And I don't even think that's necessarily that you need to change a bunch of the scenes you get in part 4.
It wasn't long ago I was trying to kill you and yours. I half expected you were about to slit my throat.
To hell's with this. I should be back home in Ilsebard instead of taking fire from my so-called comrades. It reminds me a lot of plot of Suikoden and 1 and 2, but that has a whole game to make you the leader. Yeah. Red Papalymo, those of us who started in Gridania lost both of our starting scions in a way. Yeah, it's true, Daniel. It's super true. Like, you guys get a lot of times where, like, we go to the Seedseer Council for stuff, but you, like, Gridania people, like, you know, you've lost both your scions, and you've lost, and you've never had major plot arcs within Gridania itself, you know, other than, yeah. Minor grievance about Stormblood. Yeah, the Maelstrom and the Serpent officers who stand next to Raban were there for half the expansion but never get named. To be fair, Keelhole, this is not a counterpoint, really, but I would say that is true of A Rebel Reborn, Heaven's Word, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and most of, if not the vast majority of Endwalker. So, like, I think that's a 14 problem in general.
Thanks, friend. Bloody tourniquet came loose and I was having trouble getting back on. Should be fine the rest of the way.
Keel, that is Connie Senna's bodyguard in a nutshell. Well, but to be fair, at least he, like, gets mentioning in, like, the short story and stuff, you know? I guess in some ways that's more of a grievance that he has no name, but also, like, you know, at least he has a narrative. But that's fair. I mean, I guess, yeah, that would be my counterpoint to that is also a counterpoint to itself.
Oh, bless you, kind. Wait, is that you, Elio? I didn't recognize you at first. Been fighting a bit dizzy. Must have lost a lot of blood. I can keep going. I can keep going.
His name is Keeper of the Twin Serpents, obviously. Yeah, his first name is Keeper, and his middle name is Of the, and his last name is Twin Serpents. I want the duty support NPCs in AR to get names. I wouldn't assume that the duty support NPCs are even long for this world. Oh, sorry, duty support, not squadrons. Yeah. John, I would love that too. Did he essentially give up his name for symbolism? I don't think so. I don't know of any Gridanian practices, other than those who become Pagile, offering up their old names for the Pagile names. I don't know of any specific practice that would have made him do that, but I mean, one could maybe think. His name is Keeper of the Serpents, yeah. I would die laughing if his name was like Keepa.
Elio, we've gone over Comrade Kemp's remains for safekeeping. Later, I have no idea when, rites must needs be performed. For now, however, we must carry on. We must press forward. We must not give in to despair. All Alliance resistance units have now withdrawn from Spicula and Puratorius. It is time we spoke with General Aldine.
Did you attune here? I did not, Tracy, thank you! I forget every time. Y'all are so helpful. I've always wondered, I assume not that it's just a natural formation because it's not a corrupted crystal, but the formation of this always makes me wonder if it was like a far-ranging aspect of one of Bahamut's blasts. But again, because it's not corrupted, I assume it's not. His guardian name was Keepa Duo Serpentis. I love you guys. As someone who loves the narrative style of like Sunless Sea and Fallen London, yeah, I like the idea of knowing people by a title of some sort. Yeah, great game, Tam. Sunless Sea's a great game.
These deaths weigh heavy on my soul. Commander Kemp most of all. He was a wise leader, he was a patriot, but above all else he was a good man, and will be sorely missed. One of the many lost this day. I ask for a moment's silence to pray for the souls of the departed. We have suffered grievous defeat. But we cannot and will not renounce this cause. The die has been cast. Hold tight to this grief and this anger, and let it drive you forward. Let it be your strength and your shield when next you face the enemy. It will carry us far, General. Of that I have no doubt. Ere we take another step towards Alamigo, however, we must first address the question of how to deal with Castrum Abina's cannon. If the Imperials are willing to employ the weapon without thought for their own soldiers' safety, we may struggle to approach them. A frontal assault is out of the question. We'd lose countless men before we even reach the walls. Would we? Recall that the Imperials could have obliterated our forces had they kept firing, but neglected to do so. They had no strategic reason to cease fire, which begs the question, why did they? You suspected they were unable to fire the cannon, mayhap due to malfunction. Or one of their officers forced his conscience after the first barrage. Or a hitherto unknown resistance faction chose that moment to disable it. There are many possibilities, but the fact remains that they stopped when the logic dictated they continue. Then I'll just have to go and see for myself, if the cannon is still operational. Are you mad? Conrad put you in charge of the resistance. We can't risk losing another commander so soon. I know how you feel, Nago, I do, but I need you to understand. I wasn't long after Papalymo and I arrived at Ralg's Reach that Conrad first asked me to join the resistance, and then he kept on asking. Every time I said no, I told myself it was because of the Scions, but even then I knew deep down that it was an excuse, that I was still afraid of following my heart, because I couldn't be sure if it was for me or for Yida. But then, I met someone who on the other side of the world who had struggled with the same worries, and as we traveled and fought together, I saw him grow and become a leader as people needed him to be.
She established how much Heian does affect her.
And now it's my turn to do the same. There's not a lot of us left, and the ones that are, many are still wounded. We have to make do with what we have got, and I'm the best qualified. It's as simple as that. But don't worry, Nago. I'll come back. I promise.
Remember, Heian, Ralban, like, there's plenty of examples of generals leading in the field in 14, and it being strategically smart.
While I acknowledge Commander Heck's right to carry out this mission, I see no reason why she should do so alone. Elio, would you go with her?
Would have done it even if you hadn't asked, sir.
Then it is settled. We will await your return.
I want to ask Elio some Void Scent related. Why do people think covering or blinding one's eye would help prevent Void Scent possession? Who are we talking about?
Sorry to drag you into this, Elio. It may not be a decision Comrade would have made, but I'm not Comrade. I never will be. I don't know what kind of leader he was hoping for, but right now all I can do is be myself.
Remember, most people do not understand the metaphysics of void sense. As far as they're aware, like the term the void for a long time was just used for we don't know what the fuck it is. Like that's why the void refers to multiple things that are completely disconnected from each other. So the thing is that covering one's eye could have been a superstition that was created, and that's a byproduct of why it exists now. Black mages. Where's the lore for that? Is that in Thaumaturge? Is that in Black Mage? I don't remember where that gets stated. Is it in E1 or something? Because I would typically look to it probably being a superstition more than anything. 30 to 50 Black Mage quests, if I recall. Cool. Yeah, I would assume... I mean, it makes sense, right? You think about the Thaumaturge's Guild, you think about other Black Mages. It's a common practice. Let me see real quick. We may get a hint from the Black Mage's Regalia section. Also, we're almost done for today because I don't want to go much past the locks. I'm probably going to end on the dungeon. So because of that, I don't mind taking some extra time to take some asides. Go ahead, attire. Raymond the first Black Mage, resplendent after 2,000 years. The garb from the 5th Astral Era, short through with Hexspun Mithril. Okay, that makes sense if you think about it as a legacy of Mach. Okay. Such innovations give way to the seemingly innocent piece of clothing as the invest for summoning creatures from the void. The other playing would make sport of the sanity of man. Yeah, okay, so it's definitely a Machi practice then. It's a legacy of Machi practices, but as to why they believe it'll work. Art known as Black Mage, opponent magic pure destructive force, unparalleled those who wielded it. The genuine sorcerer Shitoda was the first Black Mage of the course of the Maki Mage's obsession, research and destructive power to give rise to the host of devastating incantations, arcane weaponry. New school magic found many willing students, and the cadre of Black Mages soon formed the offensive core of the Maki's forces in the War of the Magi. The casting of so many mighty spells drained the land of Aether. Small wonder that the progression of the years fellow Black Mages branded forbidden art, secret consent in the dark depths, always those who hunger for knowledge, power of the drive of the lightless. This is the secondary century. It's Thaumaturge by the name of Kukuruka. Was originally worn by high-ranking Maki Magi, who were particularly skilled in enslaving the denizens of the void. Though appearing featureless from a distance, closer inspection reveals subtle arcane patterns in the clothes and symbols woven into the thread soaked in the blood of pact-bound voidsent. These patterns are said to amplify the power of the wearer, elevating the destructive potential of the caster's spells to truly catastrophic levels. Infused with such potential properties, the authenticity of the robe become glaringly apparent when compared to the many imitation merchants seek to hog. So this is a hypothesis. This is not what the game says. But my hypothesis would be that one of the main things that can fuck you over if you're a Black Mage or if you're a summoner of Voidsent is a lack of focus and concentration. And I would imagine that the ability to shield one's eyes allows for greater focus. An alternative hypothesis I would pose is that there's a lot of Voidsent with abilities that are related to eyes, whether it be freezing, like paralyzing, or any manner of things. That's why there's a lot of Voidsent with mechanics where you face away. So I would wonder if like not staring at the visage also would give some manner of defense in recourse. Do with retconning the eye cover between 1.0 and 2.0. Right, but that's not... That has nothing to do with what the lore reason is. That just has to do with what the development reason is. It doesn't mean that there's not a lore justification. Despite all my complaints into really loves Stormblood. Yeah, I love war stories and love how it goes and gives the perspective of the oppressed civilians who just survive. Yeah, and it's used as a building off point for, like, you don't get Endwalker to do what it does without Stormblood. The whole arc of convincing the battered people that there's hope for freedom is just so satisfying, yeah. BRB, gang, dead disappointment, yeah. Kind of like in Bloodborne, it says the beast blood creeps up the right leg, purely superstitious that everyone believes is a fact. Yeah, that would be my main suggestions. Atelier, good to see you, glad to have you. If you don't mind, I'd rather not wait around and have people try to talk me out of it. Let's get moving. I know a good vantage point overlooking the Castrum. Youngcrome's Hope. The ship's stranded on the rocks to the east of here. It shouldn't take us long to get there. Oh, but there might be some ancient golems guarding it. Or they might just be old wives' tales. Either way, it's worth the risk. Lys, Commander, I pray you proceed with all due caution. Do not hesitate to call upon us if needed. To reach the ship, we'll have to scale the cliff face. I'll get some climbing gear and meet you there, alright? Cognito Hazard Void Scent, that would suck. Yeah. There may be within the confines of the Thaumaturgy quests or the Black Mage quests a specific answer. But yeah. Did the characters ever find out that Astinia is the one who destroyed the cannon? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I played Stormblood. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if there's someone who's like has side dialogue that if you talk to them offhandedly, you find like even if it was like in when you meet him in Endwalker, like there might be like an offhanded like piece of dialogue you can find for that or something. Yeah, he mentions it later. No one even knows he's there as far as I can remember. Red, where does he mention it then? Like, does he do it in like Shadowbringers or something? Like when he pops up?
Sorry to keep you waiting. I see you met the golems. Looks like the old stories were true, eh? In a way, I'm glad. Right then, time to climb.
When is the next time he sees us? I feel like the next time he sees us, though, isn't... Does he even see us in 4.x? I don't think he sees us until 5.x, right?
Whoa! That took a bit more out of me than I expected.
It's been so long since I played 4.x. Especially 4.4 and 4.5 are a blur.
And here she is, Nyunkrum's Hope, the ark that one man made to save countless others from the flood during the Sixth Umbral Era.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's during the Sixth Umbral Era. Yeah. I guess that's not wrong.
It's comforting to think that there have always been people who carried their this much about their fellow man. It's comforting to think that there have always been people who've cared this much about their fellow man, who accomplished such great feats that people couldn't help thinking they must be made up. But the proof's right here, isn't it?
We see him in the Dragoon job quest. The 67 one. Yep, that's true. Yep, you're right.
I don't just mean the ship, you know, I mean you. Long before anyone started calling you a hero, you were there for those in need. You did things for people when you didn't have to, sometimes even when they didn't want you to. It can't have been easy staying true to yourself, but we're all better for it, me included. I'll never be a leader like Conrad, or Hien, or my father. But I can be a friend to you all, and I can fight by your side. And I can be me, and that'll just have to be enough, eh?
He definitely does post Shadowbringers.
Strange to think back on it. If we'd been standing in different places, or if the shell had struck the tower differently, it wouldn't have been me. Instead, it would have been me instead of Conrad, or maybe both of us. What kind of monster murders their own? Ugh, that's the smoke from Castrum Abania. Wait, it's coming from the cannon. I can't tell what happened from here, but I can tell that it won't be giving us any trouble in the immediate future. This is our chance, Elio, to avenge Comrade and all the others who died in the tower, friend and foe. To take Castrum Abania and bring the bastards who gave the order to fire to justice. It won't be easy after the losses we took, but I know everyone's champing at the bit to strike back. With the right plan, I'm certain we can do it. We have to tell the others. Come on.
Must be a really well-made boat to have survived the elements without so much as a scratch for 1,000 years. I mean, yeah, I mean, to even survive Calamity in the first place. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he would have been Heir Salanti, so boat making would have been a skill. But on top of that, Master of the Arcane, and beyond that, it has enchantments seemingly that are very interesting. And I've always wondered if Nyunkrumf had more connection to Hydaelyn or had other benefactors than we may not have known about. Yeah, he mentions her. One of my favorite Asinian sidelines is him commenting on how he's surprised to learn Alfino brags about his wood gathering skills when he whined like a baby at the time, or something like that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Kiel. Yep. Really long time later. Okay. We see him in the Dragoon job quest. Yeah, I think Warrior of Light physically sees Asinian during post-Shadowbringers. He definitely does post-Shadowbringers, but yeah, the first time you would see him before, in non-MSQs, you would see him during the Dragoon quest. Must be a really well-made boat to have survived the elements. I'm going to go get going to your drive home. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. You too, Deathberry. Have a good day. Bye, Death. Have a good time, Tam.
Easier down than up, eh? But not necessarily safer. Anyways, no time to rest. We need to convince the others to strike now before the Imperials have time to fix their cannon. There's no time to lose, Elio. General Aldine needs to know what we saw.
Speaking of, how close are we to Castrum? Oh. We are... Price of freedom, path forward. Oh, we actually go out a little bit. If I wanted to end early, we could. That's not a great place to end, though. Castrum Abania is a much better place to end.
You are returned. I hope only you bring good news. We scaled the cliffs of Neoncrum's Hope and spied smoke rising from the Castrum Abina's main cannon. I think Marshal Tarupin's right. They didn't fire again because they couldn't. The cannon seems to have been disabled somehow. Then we must attack Castrum Abina at once.
Could still be a trick, but if it isn't, we may not get a better opportunity.
Bluntly, General, if it is a trick, it is an utterly baffling stratagem. Had the Imperials wished to wipe us out, they could have simply kept firing. Be that as it may, we need not risk everything to seize it. I say we dispatch a small contingent to infiltrate the Castrum and secure control of the weapon. If the enemy is preoccupied with repairs, we may be able to take them unawares. If, on the other hand, it is indeed a trick, our token force will prove an elusive target, and we will at least know the cannon is operational. Either way, it seems well worth the risk, but how are we to infiltrate the Castrum? In anticipation of a day such as this, the men and women under my command have labored long to cultivate a network of informants throughout Abania, including Radiata. Radiata is home to many who hold menial positions at Castrum Abina and other nearby installations. With the aid of our allies there, I believe we can secure a route into the fortress. The Resistance will still handle this. You may have recruited these informants, but they'll just be just as happy working with fellow Alamegans. And at the end of the day, it is our land, our responsibility. Let's do right by Conrad. I should be glad to accompany her, General, as would Alice and Elio, I'm sure.
But then who's going to be our tank?
Well then, if you are all in agreement, I see no reason to refuse you. We will make you ready to march on Castrum Abina. Go, and may Ralgur watch over and keep you. My apologies for speaking on your behalf. It would seem my sister's forthright manner is rubbing off on me. I confess my decision to volunteer was not wholly motivated by concern for Lys, nor less Alamigo. Castrum Abina is the largest Imperial facility in the Peaks, you see, and so the likelihood that Kryl is being held captive there is quite high. Dealing with that cannon remains our main objective, of course. But if there ever is even a chance that Kryl might be rescued in the process, I would never forgive myself if I did not take it.
Like, it's kind of wild when you think about it, that they got rid of Y'shtola, Urianger, and Thancred for the entirety of this expansion, effectively, right? Like, I know that they all pop up to certain degrees throughout, but and yet they still couldn't characterize the three main scions you're with the whole time hyper strongly.
So to review, we are to travel to Ridata, and we will meet with the contact recruited by Marshal Tarupin's agents. I took the liberty of reviewing intelligence reports while Elio and Lys were away, so the settlement is not wholly unfamiliar to me. As the Vice Marshal indicated, the vast majority of the populace is employed as menial labor in either Specula Imperatorius or Castrum Abina. Perhaps as a result of this, the Resistance has long struggled to make inroads there. Aye, you had the right of it. They got a better deal with the most Alamegans, feeding off what scraps the Imperials gave them. Damned if I know how Marshal Tarupin's agents got one of them to turn his coat. I understand your disdain, I do, but I also understand that your desire to look after their families by any means necessary. Our contact is a Rogadin woman. She will ask us a question. After we answer with courage, she will know us as friends. Courage, right. Put together a squadron, Nago. We'll need them soon. With me, my friends, and we'll be ready for anything.
Do you like what we do? Consider showing your support and signing up for Patreon. Thank you, Jubilant. I realize they tend not to bring every sound in the story just to give some wiggle room for other characters' development, which is the reason why Y'shtola and Thancred are out. No, I think it's... They made the right choice to make Y'shtola, Thancred, and Urianger not major parts of Stormblood. There was not enough space for them. Like, that was a perfectly fine choice, especially because we needed to make sure that the newer blood had more time and energy spent into them. I'm just surprised that... Think about Shadowbringers deals with 6 of them, right? Plus a certain other character. So 7, effectively. 7 characters. And... is totally fine and works and like balances them really well. Now it balances them really well because it's paying off a lot of the built up stuff that's built up over the course of, you know, the prior expansions. Like Shadowbringers wouldn't just work solo, and Endwalker wouldn't just work solo, but the fact that it can manage those, I think, with more deftly compared to Stormblood, which, you know, only has 3 people it needs to. And then, I mean, you have Hien, Yugiri, and Gosetsu, but it mainly succeeds with those, and they're only in, you know, half of it. But, like, of, like, Alice, Alphino, and Lys, you know, I think it succeeds when it comes to Lys. I think Alphino is, I mean, just, it's more Alphino, but it's not, like, it doesn't develop Alphino very much, but it's just more Alphino. And then Lys, it doesn't wildly succeed on. Ishikawa as the writer helped. Not just helped, is, yeah, I mean, well, also remember that she wrote a lot of the parts of Stormblood as well. But noticeably, the parts of Stormblood that she wrote tend to do a lot better with the characterization, so. I don't think I know Alice was really well developed in this expansion. I don't know if I think Alice was really well developed in this expansion. I think if anyone she sold in the... Yeah, yes, Daniel. That's what... Sorry, we had said that as much earlier beforehand. I don't see I just see Alice being the main twin in the Stormblood, so she has the same development. So would Alphino if it was in the picture. Just see Alice being the main twin. We agree, so I'm trying to figure out what I said that made you think I didn't agree with that. I don't think it's a problem that that Alphino's coasting. I think Alphino's coasting is fine because so much has already been done with him in Heavensward. I don't think he needed more development. I think Ed should have any development you're gonna do, you should definitely give to Alice more. Lys still is the highlight here in terms of development. Yeah? Any particular reason that made you think that? Because, like, the thing is, I feel like she's a highlight here in the back fourth. I think she's a highlight in terms of when she gets moments in the step. When we've got moments in the step. When we get moments in when she gets moments to shine, she shines. I don't think she's given enough moments to shine. And I don't think it's because the character failed. I think that she's just not given those moments, especially in the first third. She's the highlight here. Stormblood Monk outfit is so good. Yes, it is. I'm very much a fan. And it's got curl skin as well. I just realized it's very perfect for Elio because it's literally got curl skin on it. Of course, there were still soldiers lurking about. Fortunately, there were no match for Lys. Come, Radita is not much further. Of course, in light of our recent encounter, it would be prudent to proceed with caution and remain vigilant for Imperial forces. Do you disagree with that, Atelier? Do you think that your characterization is strong in the first third? Because I feel like that was the thing that I was noticing, really, is that like she just doesn't get enough moments, especially not enough voiced moments early on. If EE3 is for Shadowbringers, does that mean EE4 will be Endwalker? I mean, if that is the case, yes. And I think it's pretty clear that it will be for Shadowbringers based on like the case and stuff. I think that would be the reasonable expectation. I think also Oda stepping back to stepping into the background will do a lot towards to focus a lot more on stuff like that and to supervise. I think means that we'll probably get EE4 a lot quicker than we did EE3. Things in the first are so different from the source, the Shadowbringer needs a whole book. It really does, because you have to explain every race effectively. You have to explain the history of every single race there. And you also then need to explain in detail the information of those on the source. Like Hrothgar and Viera, which haven't had an entry on them. And I was just debating with the idea that Alisaie had more development than Lys, or rather that Alisaie steals the spotlight of the development, which I don't think it's so at all. Attilio, have you replayed Stormblood recently, or were you here with us? I'm not talking about in this section. Because I'm just sorry, but to say, like, in the first third, absolutely she really did. Like, they kept giving scenes in which Lys should have spoken. Like, all throughout the Ruby Sea, they kept giving moments to Alisaie, and, like, not really any to Lys. Like, and there were, like, endless moments where you could have given stuff to Lys, they give to Alisaie. And it happens for a lot, especially the first third / first half. It's not happening anymore. Like, notably, once we got back from Doma, it super doesn't happen. And it happened a lot less even towards the back half of Doma with, like, Yangsha. Yangsha too. But, like, it kept happening. It, like, became a meme. Looks like it's safe to enter. I don't see any Imperials. I don't see smoke above Castrum Abania anymore. Do you think they fixed the cannon already? Alfino said we were looking for Rogan women, right? And that we should answer the question with courage. I suppose we'll just have to strike up a conversation with every one of them until we find our contact. Let me know if you find her and I'll do the same. And I'm not asking have you played it recently to, like, discredit your view. I'm more asking because I'm curious if you hold that opinion having played it recently, or if you hold that opinion having not played it recently. You know? Yeah, debating with the idea, yeah. Because if you played it recently, you know, then it's like, okay, interesting. You know, we still came down very different on that. I'm also looking for Rogan women leads. I don't know you. And you, why have you come to Radia? Nope, that's not it. But that was Rogan and women. Is it a different row woman? Tell me about myself. You really are strange here, aren't you? Too much talk can get a person killed. My father talked too much once, complained about his job. A friend reported him to the authorities, and the soldiers came to take him away as a suspected insurgent. Never saw him again. And there was my little brother, when a group of patriots heard he was laborer for the Empire. They strung him up from a tree. So no, you don't talk about yourself around here. Radiata? Well, the village is home to those who labor at Castrum Abania, or Spicula Imperatorius. Think of it as an imperial slave pen. Certainly wasn't called Radiata by the folk who lived here. It had a different name once, but you'll not hear anyone say it out loud. That earns you the visit from the corrections officer. To tell their villagers you're from Radiata, though, and it'll get a spit on. To everyone else, we're the Empire's whipped curs. We lose either way. If we're to be treated like dogs for where we were born, then we have no choice but to live like one. So it's not that Roganin, but that was a rogue woman. Oh, there was a quest marker on them the whole time. Are they a sea wolf? No. Wait. No. Ain't seen you around here before. Take a certain kind of man to walk into a place like this uninvited. One with courage, perhaps? Courage, you say? Well, that is in short supply these days. Better keep your head down and go along to survive. Call me a coward too if you like, cause I'll not speak on it anymore. At least not here. Outside Radiata, behind those barricades over yonder, on the other hand.
Hey, was that who I think it was? Well, that's a relief. Or a trap. Either way, I'll find Alvino and Alice, and we'll meet you there.
It seems like how they were handling with Doma Alamigo split. Alice was definitely more prominent in the Doma arc, but afterwards she drops off and Lise takes over. Yeah, so, agreed. I think the problem, though, is that they needed to give Lise the entire stage in order to do what they want to do with Lise, or they needed to really hit hard on Lise in Section 1 of Abania, and they don't enough. They needed to hit a lot harder on her and give her a lot more moments. They don't. It's not that they give her none, but they needed more and more voice-acted ones, and because they end up giving so much to Alice. And especially you think about how strong Alice is already coming into Stormblood because of 3.4 and 3.5. You know, compared to Lise, who has really, like, nothing, you know, up to that point.
Not followed, were you? Good.
Yeah, they do get, there's a great scene in the Steppe Atelier with her and Hien in jail, and that's a great moment. And if there were more moments like that, if you had moments, a lot of moments that were that strong earlier on as well, it would help a lot. And I say this was, a lot of this is my opinion that has changed replaying it right now. I had I had a slightly different opinion of Stormblood, though, before replaying it now.
That all of you, is it? Let's get to it then. Name yourselves. We are the Scions of the Seventh Dawns, friends of Marshal Tarupin. Named Stark Woad. The rest of you know, or we wouldn't be here. This is about the Speculum Imperatorius and the canon, isn't it? Just so, can you tell us what happened? Aye, I overheard soldiers talking about while working in the mess. The cerulean pipeline fueling the cannon was destroyed by an unidentified male insurgent, they said. One man single-handedly disabled the cannon. That beggars belief. Nevertheless, that's what they said. It took a while, but they finally put the fires out, and engineers have been working day and night to repair it. Wish I could tell you more, but the incident had everyone jumping on shadows, and afraid to say much more. To make matters worse, the Alamegan help have been sent home indefinitely. So the cannon could already be fully operational. We need to sneak into Castrum Abania to ensure the cannon is no longer a threat to our troops. Can you help us? Aye, that much I can do. I pieced together a map of the interior over the years, and I know for a fact that there are multiple points of entry. Impressive. If we split into several groups, they may improve our odds of reaching the fire and control center. We may be few in numbers, but we have faith that we can see this through.
Oh, I guess she has an axe. She could be our tank. You know, if we ever got a... Oh, do they have the shield as a separate item? Oh, that's interesting. You could also argue because technically Alice is a new character to you still at this point, so the writers wanted to give her some needed development after joining in Heavensward. But see, I think 3.4 disagrees with that, Atelier. I think they give you an entire patch that is hardcore Alice time with Gabu and all of that. And they give you, like, they endear you to her very quickly. On top of that, they also have coils, which not everyone plays, so, you know, that's fair. But coils existed as well. And also, the other thing I would say is that Alice does not have the climax of the story riding on her shoulders, you know? So, like, to me, like, the fact that they get co-equal time is a problem when one of them has a much more than they need to have catharsis around.
We have that for which we came. All that remains is to make our preparations. Elio, you and your ever-dependable allies will enter the Castrum with my sister, and I by way of the ventilation ducts leading to the hangars. From there, you will proceed into the weapons research and unleash bloody mayhem. At the same time, Alice and I will create a diversion elsewhere. In the ensuing confusion, Lisa and her unit will attempt to reach the fire control center undetected. If all goes to plan, our three parties will subsequently converge on this location, and together we will secure the cannon before finally notifying the Alliance that they are cleared to attack. Sounds simple enough. I'll go and brief Nago on the details. The rest of you come with me. We'll need to deal with the Magitech patrols before you can infiltrate the Castrum.
If you'd like to join me for Castrum Abania, you want to be at the tea tree. Night, Tracy! Also, yeah, I hard agree on that. If they sprinkle more scenes like how they did with her and Hien early on, it would have been helped with easing her character more, I suppose. Yeah, here's the thing, it's there. I think we're actually we're not, like, super far off from each other on this. My thing is that I do not think Lisa's bad, but I think they failed her in the amount of setup they have, the amount of time they characterize her, which means that certain emotions I find, and I think I see repeatedly, don't hit as strongly for most people. because of that. And I think it was a solvable problem. And I think it was a solvable problem because I think you see the light shine through at many different moments. I also can't help but feel there's even something to be said that I think if you just voiced all her cutscenes, which I mean, like, would be somewhat a lot to just voice only her cutscenes. I mean, would be weird. But if, let's say, all her cutscenes and interactions were voiced, I think it would do a lot for her as well. In the same vein that I think the main thing you could do to fix ARR at this point, number one thing by far, is to just get, like, double the amount of voice acting in it. I think that would do a lot to make ARR a lot more enjoyable. I think the second thing I would say is create a normal binding coils, because of the amount that binding coils is important, and also develop certain characters.
Almost there, friend. Your point of entry is just around the bend up ahead. The last patrols should be here any moment. Once you dealt with them, we'll be clear to advance, assuming they keep to their usual schedule. Might be prudent to stand watch for a moment after, just in case.
Double cast voice acting. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I do think it would be awesome if they redid AR with new voice cast, yeah. You and me, and I'm assuming everyone else, Daniel. I know that there are some people like the original voice actors for certain characters, so maybe there are people who like, oh, I would miss this or that, but, like, I think on the whole... I mean, you just think about the level of quality of, like, new Castrum, and, like, the fights against, like, Livia and Meridianum, or, you know, the new Cape Westwind, or, like, also, and, like, the huge, you know, advancement in some of the mechanical stuff already in AR, and if that level of quality was applied to some of the other production stuff. I mean, think about this. 2.1 has no voice acting, which is wild.
By Brolgar, I knew you were a lot to good, but I never expected you to defeat so swiftly. Elio is the finest warrior I know, and I should like to think we have learned something from our time in his company. Now, where's the entrance to the docks? Right behind you. I mapped the branches so you should have no trouble reaching the hangars or any number of other places. Understood. Thank you again for your invaluable assistance. As we discussed, Elio, we shall divide into 2 groups and proceed via separate routes into the Castrum. Remember that our objective is to cause as much chaos as possible, to draw the Imperials away from Lys and her men. If there's nothing else, I'll return to the resistant forces and show them to the entrance. May Ralgar guide you to victory.
I still miss original Merlib. Kreia was so good.
This is your last chance to make your preparations, Elio. When you and yours are ready, we shall begin.
I like original Merlib. I also like current Merlib, and I also the current Merlib's voice actress is actually an actress I also like in a lot of other things. She was in Doctor Who, funny enough. But so I like both of them. Okay. Let me just make sure I have it for sure. I know it just said it. Yeah. Okay. On my way to the tea tree for anyone who would like to join me. Though I think AR Alfino worked for his character really well because of his like snootiness and like hoity-toityness. Yeah, I do think it worked. I do think I'm forgetting his name. I know he's a very famous voice actor, but I do think that it worked pretty well for Alfino. But I think there's a lot of weak ones. Oh, holy moly, there's a lot of you guys. Okay. Atelier, you don't usually come. Let's bring you. Who would like to join us? Also, if you... Quick thing. If you're gonna join us, be ready to... we are going to be doing pulling wall to wall and going all out, balls to the wall, so be ready to DPS heal. Like, I'm not saying, like, you gotta be super sweaty, but... Okay, Ryan. And who wants to be our last? Who wants to be our healer? I'll let you guys wave if you want to heal. Oh, okay. Sounds good. Well, then we got a group. Okay, need one of you guys to switch to healer, though. Sam Riegel pulls off so many smart moves to me very well, yeah. Like the Sith Lord Kreia. Yep, Daniel. Do we meet in Limsa for Panda? Probably. One of you guys need to switch to healer, or we'll have to kick one of you. And Ingus is tanking, so it's Reinhardt or Kadar. One of you guys got it. Demins, one of you guys got it. Okay, thank you. Let's go. Maybe the problem with Sam Riegel as Elfino is that he just doesn't sound youthful enough. You're right. It didn't bother me, and it was youthful enough that I didn't mind it. But I do absolutely see what you're saying and do absolutely even agree. In that he does not sound very youthful. I also think that the voice actor for Alfino could definitely put on a little bit more of an affect for early. I mean, and also, I think he has the capacity to be kind of, like, snooty as well. Even like, he's not snooty even, but, like, when he's being unaware or being informative or something, he can even, like, has some of that airs already. Awesome, guys. Let's kick some ass and take some names. I saw you walk there for a second, Ingus, and I genuinely thought, is he going to try to walk through the entire dungeon? Ah, that's what you were doing. Smart. Now this is dungeon running. Guardians are ahead of their time, mechanical monkey. Apes together strong. Wait, Sam fucking Regal voice Alpha? No, now that explains getting triggered a lot in ARR past critical. Yeah. Old Drankard was Tilson. I do not know. That makes sense. A lot of people in Critical Role people were in ARR because a lot of Critical Role people work under the same like voice acting houses, and they, because of how the contract worked for ARR, they were only allowed to contractually use the same. They weren't really like there weren't a lot of people who were contractors. There was a lot of people under a deal with the recording house, as far as I come to understand it. And so because of that, it makes sense. Why? I mean, like, it's part of the thing about there's a lot of voice actors in America are like why you see a lot of the same people over and over again as well. Got him. I don't think I've ever even played. Oh, wow. Okay, that's what that does. I'll remember to use that more regularly. I'm gonna have to do a whole bunch of keybinds, rebind some keybinds, because I've only ever really played 60 monk. I mean, I leveled monk up beyond that, but like I would leveled it a lot through like roulettes and stuff, so I never ended up getting a lot of like 70, 80, 90 content. So even though I have a 90 monk on my main, I did not play from 70 to 90 very much. I totally forgot about Brotherhood. I know for sure you can get them all down in time if you do perfect DPS, but I've never been in a group that's gotten it. If we all had like food too, and like, if we potted it, I bet we could do it too. Leveled fully through MSQ roulette. Skills. I guess patience, but patience is a virtue. Literally what I did with Sage. Yeah, I guess also leveling Sage through like 70 MSQ is very easy. Or from 70 to 90 is very easy. I leveled Sage purely through getting it to 80 through I think 70 to 80 in like Baja and or something. I don't remember. Maybe it was roulette or maybe it was dungeons or something to get it. I got it to 80 really fast like day 1 or day 2 or something. Or maybe I picked up Sage after I completed MSQ because I think I might have mainlined MSQ. But and then I picked up, I leveled it from 80 to 90 just through doing fates for, to get fate completion in, Endwalker. I highly recommend that if you want to level the new class, or new job, definitely, do the bicolor gemstone system week 1, week 2 of the game being out, when there's a bunch of people doing farmy parties and stuff for it. So you don't have to worry about it later, and also it'll let you max level the newest job very, very, very quickly. Heck, I might even been in those parties and started at 70 something and then leveled it from 70 to 90 even though I was under leveled. Might not be 70 to 90 though, because I might have been, I think 10 levels is too much, but I think I must have gotten to like 75 or something. And then did like Thavnair and Labyrinthos. Oh, I need to change my element, I bet. What's his element? I've never had to, like, I've never learned the fight for that. Okay, reflecting fire. Well then, wait, I hadn't had lightning. Strike back all ice and fire aspect attacks. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, it was duo aspected. That's why it was, what the problem was. Now I understand this fight. I just, like, I do this dungeon so goddamn rarely. This is, like, maybe the 4th time I've ever done it. Maybe. I find Thavnair fates are often being done by 1 to 2 people at any given time, so you can easily snag opportunities once here and there. Yeah, like, you can still do them, don't get me wrong, but, like week 1 and week 2, you have, like, 5 parties in the fate grinding thing. Like, if you want to do any map in a full group, you can get it like that. Whereas, you know, like, and it's just much, much, much faster and much easier. You can keep pulling on, well, the next one will spawn. Unless you're worried about health, then I get it. Boo. Aw, shit, here we go again. That's cool, I didn't realize that the arena was open to the sky. Ready when you are. This way, little one.
Time for your medicine! This way, little one. Time for your medicine! This is probably, depending on what the type of experimentation is. Actually, you know what? Fetch. Inferno. More monster than machina, the autonomous weapon was born of an accident in the course of synthetic muscle development. Unable to be controlled and able only to destroy, it was essentially a failed creation, but it found use in the Castrum's defense, in part to test endurance, and was keenly observed by its creator, Aulus. Cool. I'll fix that later. Effectively, it was basically synthetic muscle that... It's akin probably to an alchemical creation. Thanks, guys. Let me it's just like a... Okay, Elio, stop showing off. Sweet. Thank you. Yes, and they also that he was in an experiment of Aulus's to allow Garleans to use magic, and succeeded, but it made him mentally unstable.
Are you all right?
Ah, I think that answers my question. We've accomplished our objectives as well.
Alternatively, Endwalker is because you kill God, which
Lisa's
ultimately
unit
is
should
almost
be
every Final
advancing upon
Fantasy.
the fire control center in the command tower. Let us join them. Lise, thank the 12 you're all right.
And you. There's the control center. Let's hit them hard and fast. Ready?
They're here! It was you, wasn't it? Wasn't it? I gave the order to fire.
It was over! The skulls had surrendered, no one else had to die, and you killed them! Your own people! Your own comrades!
You're right! I killed them. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn, all the rest, trained and fought with every last one of them, good soldiers to a man. I gave the order that led to their deaths, and I knew exactly what I was doing.
But why? Why would you do that?
They died so that all Alamegans could live free. That was all we ever wanted. We made a promise that we would do whatever it took, so that one day the Imperials would learn to accept us. But everything comes at a price. And if you haven't got the means to pay, then you pay with blood. Service guarantees citizenship, but citizenship guarantees naught. It's not enough to do your part, oh no. You have to run faster, fight harder, kill more and more and more, and only then will you be equal. That's just how it is out here in the provinces. You buy your freedom with blood. There is no other way.
Shut up! Shut your mouth! You don't get to talk about freedom! You killed your own! They trusted you, and you killed them! Murderer! Butcher! Traitor!
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then also she explained her motives there, right there, like everything I was saying, right?
Lise! Gotcha!
I know what you can do. I've already seen it.
Alize!
Even so, the odds are against me.
Coward! Get back here!
That's interesting. That glass doesn't look like a texture. It actually looks like a model. Huh.
Hero! Lord Xenos invites you to join him for the royal hunt, to be hosted at the palace. You may bring your horde, if you like. All are welcome.
She'll be all right, but we'll need to carry her. Will you help me? Thank you. Lise, I leave matters here in your hands.
Does he ask you to help carry her if you're a Lalafell? Because if so, how the hell do you do that?
Well, we did it. Castrum Abania belongs to us now. Nago and her people took Alice to Radida and receive treatment. Alfino tells me she'll make a full recovery. I know I should be happy. We won and with minimal casualties, but somehow it feels empty. We should report to General Aldine. Kral wasn't here, but who knows, maybe one of Raban's men found something which could lead us to her. Can't hurt to ask anyway.
Okay. Well, that's where we're going to call it for tonight. I'm going to come back to the hangout to the tea tree. So if anybody wants to join us, I'm going to after stream be doing some filming of... Sorry. Filming of Pandemonium. We could use a hand or two extra if people would like to join us. Basically, you're just going to be doing the fight while I get some shots and stuff. Plot magic. I can join. Oh, nice. I mean, obviously, you need to be level 90, have a level 90 character, and be at that point in the story. And so, both Abyssos and Asphodelos. And stepping away from the laughing bunny. Okay. We will be finishing up Stormblood next week, next Monday, and then we will be moving on into either the Four Lords or Omega on Tuesday. If you want to support us, you can always check our content out over at the Eorzean Archives website or at the YouTubes. You can support us on Patreon if you'd like to offer us $1. It goes a long way to supporting us, making this whole thing a lot more sustainable. And you also get named in the banner, all sorts of fun rewards. You can offer a couple bucks of also messages here, and apparently get me to do things like sing the Alamegan anthem, because that's a thing that's happening now. Beyond that, we also stream tomorrow will be a new video. It may be a little late depending on if I struggle to get the footage today, but hopefully it'll be Lyrical Lore Scream. If not, it will be a short that I have ready to go. On Thursday, me and Aniri will be playing Final Fantasy 2, and you're welcome to come join us and watch us finish up that as we get through that, and then on to Final Fantasy 3. On Friday, we have Lore Book Club, and then on Saturday, we have community stream. And this community stream is going to be maps, so if you'd like to go do some maps, definitely come join us out and hang out on that. But yeah, it's always love hanging out with you guys. Thanks for entering the stream. I hope to catch another stream. Absolutely, Daniel. Yeah, if you don't know what the schedule is, you can always come join over our Discord, and we have a schedule specifically of what's going to what's when and what's going to happen next. And it's always very, very consistent for the most part. Though sometimes there's the odd sickness or exhaustion. I have no idea who this Eorzean who is giving me blow kisses is. But yeah, so definitely, if you want to come join Pandemonium, I'll be over in voice chat over in the Discord if you want to come join there. So yeah, with that said, I hope you all have a lovely evening. I'm gonna come. I need to stop hanging out with you guys. Oh, it's because we're in a party, right? Who is Kaida? I have no idea who that is. It's Yukio. Okay, well let's invite to send firm request. So at least I know. Okay. Same here. I always got caught up with work and me doing my own thing, so it's fun whenever I can come and help out. Yeah, I always love it. I always love it when you guys can make it. It just, whenever you guys make it, it's always great. I am also, thanks for streaming, allowing me to heal. Of course, Elias. I also got hit by tiredness this past hour, so sorry for my less evacuated self and started suffering anxiety spasms, which is a whole thing. But I will see you guys hopefully on Thursday, and if not, I will see you guys whenever I see you. Hopefully on Monday. You can always come chat with me over in the Discord. Have a lovely evening.